Welcome you lovely people. This is my walk around for Saturday, May the 24th here at Manor Park Classics. And you're clever. You rang that bell, you've liked, subscribed. You're getting this early on Wednesday night, which means you get 2 whole days to look at these fabulous cars. And if you want to look at the bikes, do nip over to my learned colleague Steve Berry off of the Top Gear. He's done a fabulous bike walk around video, which is probably about 10 hours long. But it's full of everything you need to know about all the bikes we have for sale on Friday. So there you go. Now before we start, Manor Park merch, look at this. £12 for a t-shirt. You don't get t-shirts for £12 anymore. Beautiful screen printed. If you want to look sartorially elegant and proclaim your love for the Northwest leading auction house, you can now do it for just £12. Mugs, hoodies, all for sale on Saturday, so bring your pocket money. We do have cards, of course. But let's start with the lots. Now this is lovely. This is a GP Super Buggy. I used to have one of these, a blue one. This is great, isn't it? This has had a very nice level of build, this. So why this is nice is the GP Mark II buggy. You get the integrated windscreen, you get the front filler. You also get, in theory, 4 seats because this is built onto a standard length Beetle chassis. Now, for whatever reason, this person hasn't put any back seats in the one that's designed to have back seats. But you have got a massive storage area. So this could be very good as your summer fun. It's got these lovely fiberglass shell seats on there. You could put tyres in the back for your race car, have this as your support vehicle. You could put surfboards in the back. You can put your BMXs in the back for the Volkswagen show. But why this is good is the colour, the fact it's a GP Mark II, which I think is the archetypal British beach buggy. It's very nicely done. It's got the optional side pods, which are quite rare and very of their time. And it's quick. Come and have a look around the back, look. It's got a big old motor hanging out the back. New exhaust fitted. It's a 1640, so she shovels. And what's nice about the long wheelbase beach buggies is they ride and drive a bit better because it's a standard Beetle geometry, and of course it's not a cut floor. So everything is where it should be. It's where Volkswagen designed it to be. With a 1640 and all that weight gone, and a nice little rollover hoop to make you feel safe, that could be the bargain of the sale. The paint is good but not perfect, but the fun is there. I think you'd have an awful lot of jolly days out in the sunshine. No roof, of course, because it's not really about that. Just drive with the roof down. If it rains, you get wet. It doesn't go rusty because it's plastic. Now this is gorgeous. Other end of the classic car scale, 1961 Giulietta. Isn't that gorgeous? Now this car has had an enormous amount of money spent, and you really need to come and have a close look at this to see where it's all gone. South African import. It's had a 1600cc engine upgrade, which is a really nice thing to do. It's got the original block and head, and it was driven here 50 miles to the sales room. But have a look inside, look. It's like going back in time. Look at the quality of the work. It's got the Nova certificate. It's absolutely beautiful, this car. Now, it's got the certificate of origin from Alpha's archives. At some point, it's been upgraded to a 1600, I think in South Africa. And everywhere you look, the paintwork, the trim work, the chrome, the wheels, the tyres, everything about this car is really without question. And for that reason, I like it very much indeed. Now, I would imagine someone has spent an inordinate amount of money doing this. You will buy it for somewhere between 26 and 28. Probably half of what it's cost to do. But just look at it, it's lovely. Everywhere you look, it's almost perfect. If you want to be really pedantic, and I know that you like me to be that on your behalf, a couple of very tiny little imperfections just in the paint, not much. But you know, I am being pedantic, I'm comparing that to a new car. For a restoration, it is stunning. I would say worth every penny of nearly 30k that, and you wouldn't build it for twice. You really wouldn't. This is lovely. We always have an SL in. I know the SLs look nice on alloys, but don't you think they look better on trims? Just come and have a look around here. Have a look on the pressed aluminium trim. Particularly with the white line tyre, they somehow look a little bit more old money. This is lovely. 1980. Between 18 and 20 grand is the estimate. 96,000 miles. It's automatic, of course, as well. 17 stamps in the book on this one. Both the hard top and the soft top are present. We have both of those, and the hood's in lovely condition. It's got the back seat option, which, as you may know, isn't really that useful for most people, depending on how tall you are. But if you've got a dog or very small children, then it comes into its own. It's recently had a brake overhaul. It's been used regularly for driving around. It's got the original book pack and wallet, and all the spare wheel toolkit is all present. The paint's very nice. Beautiful colour, really beautiful colour. This. One to treasure. We always talk about old money cars, cars that kind of work at every level and in any place. An old SL, particularly one on trims, there's something about the fact the trims make it look a little bit more like the Pagoda. Because the thing about the Merc trims look, although this is an earlier trim with a more domed cap, see what I mean? Even though that's a 1980 car, it sort of gives the evocation, the spirit of this kind of thing, which we shall move on to now, which is a 66 car. So you sort of get a 60s aesthetic on an 80s car, and I think it looks really good. This is a 66 car. This is an SEB Coupe, and it is something I would like to own very much indeed. Isn't it stunning? 26 to 30,000 pounds is the estimate on this, 52,000 miles with a fresh MOT. And if you like to buy your cars by the foot, even by modern standards, this is huge. Pillarless coupe, of course, which is stunning. And the interior is lovely. And right-hand drive. Cannot be many of these for sale. Do have a look at the photographs of this online if you're viewing from online. A lot of money has been spent, again, the paintwork, of which there is a lot to paint on this car, is in really lovely condition. Fresh MOT, which it doesn't need. Completely standard car, presents and drives really well, and it was driven 30 miles here without a hiccup. I can't really convey to you the presence of this car. It's really hard to do that. I don't know if Phil could just get a front 3/4 of it, and again, do look at the pictures of this online. The chrome is beautiful, the radiator shell's lovely, the paint is ever so nice, and don't forget when you do dark blue or black on a car that's this big, with sides this long, you will see every single imperfection. This doesn't really appear to have any. It was ordered new by a vet from York, who kept it 11 years till 1977. And then it was a chauffeur car for someone from the Rowntree's factory. And it's had a lot of money spent on resto. It's been kept in a heated garage, which is very evident. Yeah, for under 30k, I think you'll struggle to find a car that looks better than that. Just so much of it. It's beautiful, isn't it? Unleaded conversion, headlining, trim rings, body mouldings, chrome seal covers. Do have a look at the bills. If you're seriously contemplating that, please do pull the bills and the files on that. It's exceptional. Now, supercar / hypercar bargains of our time. If you'd like a Lamborghini and you can't quite stretch to it, but you want effectively the same engine in the middle of your car and you want the roof to come off, the Audi R8 V10, I would wager, is probably the best way to do it. So for somewhere between about 40 and 45,000 pounds, you could buy this and take this home. And wouldn't you be happy? Beautiful summer's day today here in Runcorn, and you've got the ability to make Lamborghini type sounds from this bit whilst getting a tan. You've got the flappy pedal gearbox, of course, and this car's only done 44,000 miles. Completely factory specified with the 19-inch diamond cut wheels. Flew through its last MOT, which goes all the way through to April 26. And 8 services to date, 5 at Audi, 1 at Sytner, 1 at Autohaus Workshop, 1 at Volksmaster. Whoever's had this car has been spending all the money with all the right people and has all the paperwork to show for it. HPI clear, 2 keys, all the things you want, and just a hard car to fault. I know the vendor of this car, and I know how discerning they are with the stuff that they sell. So this is one for not a huge amount of money. If you think if that was the equivalent Lambo, you'd be probably into deep 5 figures, into 6. You're getting pretty much all the same stuff with an Audi badge, let's try hard, for 40 to 45. Now, if you want true supercar royalty, here we go. 2009 Ferrari F430 with the F1 gearbox. Now, if you look online, the wheels that it has in the pictures, obviously I think are the optional track wheels. We've put the factory wheels back on for the purist. 26,000 miles and one of the last F430s made. So the F430, of course, is the 360 restyled by Frank Stephenson. And you can see she's in lovely condition. Now, that number plate is included. If you're going to order an F430, it does make sense to do it in the Rosso Crema colourway. It's obvious, but it sells. If you order a Rosso Crema, everybody wants to buy the car when you finish with it. It's got the Scuderia shields, which is always a very nice and very expensive option as well. In fact, it's got some very lovely options altogether on this car. Carbon fibre bucket seats, yellow face rev counter, carbon fibre dash accents, which you want to be having a look through the window there, Phil. The Manatino wheel, which is the first steering wheel control wheel. As I say, the wing shields, carbon ceramics, red calipers. All of the boxes tick to make this a really desirable and lovely car. And by this point, the F1 gearbox really is a very lovely thing to own and use. So I would say that's a fantastic way to travel. 26,000 miles, 65 to 75,000 pounds. That could be sitting in your garage, giving you all the noises for summer. Love that. Moving on, a little bit slower, but no less stylish. To be honest, this would be me. As much as I love the F430, if I was taking one home, this would be me. G-Series 911. This, of course, is the 3.2 Sport Cabriolet. Just peak late 80s, this, before they move on to the 964, and this is almost a run out before they do. So the last of the impact bumper cars, which is very iconic. Right-hand drive, it's got the 16-inch Fouche wheels, which have been detailed beautifully on this as well, and the mileage is just 101,000 miles. So really nice on an old Porsche. It's been used and enjoyed, but not forever. 24 stamps in the book, advisory-free MOT, and that 911 plate comes with it. I say 24 stamps in the book. In 2005, it had a new hood, an engine rebuild at 85,000. It's just done over 100. So 16,000 miles ago, she's had a new engine as well. New piston rings and new clutch. And the Porsche was serviced last year at a cost of £1,700 last year. Full service, which I imagine is the largest service. So she's ready to go. What would you pay for something like that? Well, probably less than you think. £40,000 to £45,000. Beautiful summer car, very usable, and I would wager as well that car will never be less than £45,000. If you maintain it in the way it's been looked after, that is money in the bank. It's as good as having a savings plan, but one you can drive around and enjoy. Into the main hall. And here's an old friend back. Now, we sold this, I think, a couple of years ago, and it's back. And it's beautiful. And we love that. You might see that if you are a regular follower or a regular visitor, you'll notice that every 2 years or so, every 2 or 3 years, cars come back. And we love that. So people use it like a toy box. They'll buy a car, have a year or two with it, have some fun, want something else, put it in for sale. They've looked after it. It's worth probably exactly what they paid or very close to. Get the money back, buy something else. It's the best way to do it. Use us like your toy box, basically. 7.5 to 8.5 grand would buy you, I would imagine, this 1979 Fiat X19 with 55,000 miles, right-hand drive car, with a removable Targa roof, and it's just beautiful. Probably one of the nicest ones I've seen. I wouldn't normally go for a gold car, but I have to say, the condition is so nice on this one, I would make the exception. Look at the interior. It's so period. Paintwork's really good. There's a couple of tiny areas where you might want to do a bit, but the way it presents, when you do that walk-up test of any car to see whether you want to own it or not, it just jumps at you, this car. The quality of the paintwork, the shine, the finish, the detailing on it, everything about this car is in very, very lovely condition. Old MOTs, we've got the brochure, we've got the luggage bags, which you don't often see. You know, Gandini's passed away for a couple of years now, but people are still talking about his work. You know, it's hard to own a genuine Bertone Gandini car for not a lot of money, but this one, as I say, between 7.5 and 8.5, you could buy it. Now, bearing in mind, probably a rough one's going to be 3 or 4. Spend a bit more and get one that doesn't really need anything, because that is as near to perfect. It's not perfect, but it's as near to perfect as I think you can expect a 70s car to be. Now, super rarities, I love these to bits. Baby Corvettes, Opel GT, we've never had. I think this is the second one we've had in. Just rare old thing, aren't they? So literally, Opel's European version of the Corvette, scaled down for a European audience. Left-hand drive, of course, for that reason. Between £9,000 and £11,000 you buy this car. It's on 70,000 miles. Loads of history with it, and just look how beautiful it looks. Previously owned by the chairman of the Opel GT Owners Club, and has an advisory-free MOT through to April of 2026. Magazine featured car, as you'd expect for this quality. And just look inside. Let me open this door for you. They're actually quite big inside for such a tiny car. I would fit in there. But what I love about these is not everybody knows what they are, and hardly anybody's got one. So it came from California, originally allocated a Q plate, and then in 2010 that was unwound to get the correct age-related plate on there. Lots of invoices with it, and the only reason it's being sold by our lovely vendors is because just not using it. So he wants to make sure that someone else has it that can have some fun with it. Achingly pretty, super rare. As I say, baby Corvette styling. What's not to love on that? So how about this? A later Spitfire in the best colour they did. I do love yellow cars, but this is fantastic. Doesn't this look good? So really, for not much more than a nice MX-5, you could have a Spitfire instead. A couple of little tiny dents on the boot I've just noticed there. Probably where it's been shut with enthusiasm. 93,000 miles. And these are now becoming quite a rare car, particularly in this condition. Great history and lots of fun I say, I think you'll buy this with fees for under 10 grand. And the paintwork is ever so nice on this. Lots of invoices and receipts. 53 years old, of course, so it is exempt for everything. You don't have to have an MOT on it, you don't have to pay ULEZ on it. It's got period tonneau, it's got period radio. A couple of little tiny bits to do on it. So a few marks on the driver's seat, and the clutch needs attention, we think, and that could be down to lack of use. But just bank on needing at least a fluid change on the clutch, and maybe spending a little bit of money on just doing the odd tidy up. There's a bit you just see on the driver's seat. Driver's seat either wants recovering or repairing, just in the middle. So budget a few £100 to put those things right, and you'll have a lovely, lovely car ready for summer. Now, anyone that knows me knows I love my water-cooled and air-cooled Volkswagens, so I'm feeling a huge amount of love for this. Mark 1 Scirocco, not only a genuinely rare car now, but one that I think has aged absolutely fantastically. I have a Mark 2 Scirocco, but the Mark 1 for me is just that little bit prettier, a little bit more nicely proportioned. There are less than 20 of these cars left in the UK. Can you believe that? Historic vehicle status, of course, again for this one, 97,000 miles. And to give you some idea of the budget, you're going to need to find between about £16,000 and £18,000 to buy this motor car. It's got a lovely front spoiler on it as well. And again, you know, talking of great designers like Gandini on the X19, your chance to buy a Giugiaro designed car at the height of his powers. Hard to argue, I think, that he didn't get this car absolutely spot on. Paintwork's beautiful. It's got the leather. It's got a little bit of a seat pull. There's just a stitch pull on the driver's side seat, which I would definitely get done because the car really justifies it. But other than those few small things, not much to do. The boot carpet has a bald patch, but it looks like it's been split. A little bit of wear on the driver's seat bolster, like we say. And just a very nice, presentable car, but find me another. Find me another with less than 20 on the roads, and the leather is just stunning, isn't it? Yeah, that is worth spending a little bit of money to make perfect because the car is so nice. Right, if you want to get a lot of flash for not a lot of cash, and you want a bit of old money vibe while you're driving around, this. Now, I don't know if Phil can get this on the phone. The colour of this, I would imagine this has got to be a special order paint because it's the deepest, richest sort of cranberry burgundy I've ever seen. Gorgeous this. It's a Turbo R 1994. Fantastic history and a fresh MOT. Let me tell you about it. Registered by Jack Barkley. The history is just spectacular. 24 stamps, loads of receipts, loads of old MOTs, all of its factory build information. And I would say that's a special order colour. And it's got beautiful seat piping. Now these kind of Bentleys, these Turbo Rs, this shape of Bentley, what we'll call the square Bentley, there is a lot of stuff about for sort of 5, 6, 7 grand, and it seems very tempting because it is, you know, and we probably sell quite a few of them here as well. I can't stress enough, if you can stretch a little bit more to get something that has a history this ridiculous in this kind of condition, chances are in the long term, it hurts a bit more when you do it, but in the long term it's probably a cheaper way to buy them. To buy something like this, which you'll probably need, I don't know, a couple of grand a year to keep on top of it, is probably going to be cheaper than buying one that needs chunks of thousands of pounds to keep it nice. Just stunning in every single way. Very hard to fault that car, it really is. If you're looking for one and you can stretch into the 5 figures, just reach. Because everything, the leather, the wood, it's perfect. It needs nothing. That car needs absolutely nothing, and the colour is unbelievable. It's just so deep. I don't know if you can see the shine on the screen there. Absolutely beautiful. The Alpina, look, Mark's giving it a clean. Mark, is there anything we should know about this Alpina while you're giving it a clean? Because I'm going to talk about it now. Stay in the shop, by the way, because you can give me your detailer's viewpoint. Something else, by the way, if you do bring a car to us, obviously, we'll do our very best for you. If you want a deep clean, we can book that as an extra option, but every car gets at least a wash, a detail, a little hand polish, just to make sure it sits here as well as it can. We're very blessed with this room that we have fantastic lighting, but what it does do is reveal imperfections in the car. It's by design. Obviously, we want to make sure that you've got the best chance of having a look at it before you buy it. So Mark goes round, gives everything a tickle. It smells beautiful. Thank you, mate. Wonderful job. This is 2003, cleaned and detailed by Mark. Alpina B3S E46. If you know what you're looking at, you'll know what we're talking about. Not your normal run-of-the-mill fare. I think cooler than an M3, just because it isn't an M3. And obviously made in much lower numbers and all hand-finished. 103,000 miles, rare, numbered, certificated V5's Alpina version with a huge history and a factory hardtop on this as well. Recently serviced in September 24. It's had a coolant thermostat, all the wheels refurbished, new uni oils, new thermostat and water pump, and the hood service, because the hood was working but it was a bit slow. It's got new Alpina stripes. It's the proper thing. It really is the proper thing, and it sits beautifully, this car, I have to say. I would like that very much, just because I think the E46 is probably the most handsome car. I do like the wide body of the E46 M3, but to me this is just a bit more subtle, and in my old age I am getting a bit more subtle. There's a lot to love about that. The only thing I think I'd swap on that is the mirrors. It's got these non-standard carbon print mirrors. I think I'd be very tempted to either get a set of standards or have those done in body colour, and then she would be perfect. Audi Coupe with a slightly flat tyre. We'll make sure that's pumped up for sales day. On BBS splits. Aren't these looking sensational now? 91 Audi S2 Coupe. Any S-Series Audi is good news, we know that. I just think these are extraordinarily handsome cars. And if you look at Quattro prices of the previous shape, they're now in the stratosphere. So I think we've all missed the chance to get one of those. So maybe this is the next best thing. An S2 Coupe, one of the very first ones. And they always say with any collectible car, don't they? Buy the first or the last example that you can. Lovely condition with a great history and 150,000 miles. And those fabulous BBS splits. Got the 2.2 inline 20 valve from the 200. A full Audi book pack, 21 stamps in this as well. And a selection of invoices and receipts. I like that very much. And apart from that slightly deflated tyre, she is perfect. Have a look in there, look. Frameless doors, of course. Seats are very nice. People always say, Paul, what's hot? What should I be investing in? 80s cars, we've almost missed the boat, like I say. We sold a Quattro here recently. They went for a lot of money. 90s is next, isn't it? Look at buying 90s cars. I do think that's where the growth will be. And that will be not a small amount of money, as I say. That's going to be, let me just tell you, 12 to 14. But I do think there's some opportunity for growth there. Right, moving on. Another Audi, an 80 Sport. If you like your rare Audis in red, we are your sales room for you. The Golf GTI for grown-ups, it says here. I would agree with that. And let's just have a look at this, shall we? Let's just first of all look at everything from the rather lovely wheel to the Ronal Moty spokes that are on it. The seat covers, which are in remarkably good condition, needs a tiny retention there if you want to make it perfect. And this car has done, let's have a look, 98,000 miles. Tornado red, only 90 examples currently known to the DVLA, and it's a sunroof model as well. It's got some service parts in the boot. It's got some Spax PSX service kit on it, and to ride with instruction manuals and wallets with 2 sets of keys. Now 7 to 8 grand for this, which I don't think is outrageous, because a good Golf GTI is going to cost you that now, and this is much rarer. And dare I say, and I've got 3 Golf GTIs, so I can say this, I think this is cooler than the Golf GTI. I really do. Just because nobody's got one. And I remember at the time reading VW Motoring magazine and seeing they had a project Audi 80, and they just looked so groovy. And of course you have got that lineage that relates into the Quattro. If you can't afford a Quattro, and let's face it, which of us can now, this is kind of the 4-door saloon version, slightly detuned, slightly less crazy engine, slightly less crazy drivetrain, but you're still getting some of that DNA, some of that magic is in this car for you to drive and enjoy for under 10 grand, whereas a nice Quattro or MB Quattro is going to be 50, 60, 70 plus now. Lots to love about that, and I like that very much indeed. Now this next car I keep lusting after. It's going to be a bit of a punt, this, because there isn't a full history on this car. So there are little gaps in this car's timeline that we don't have, and we always like to be honest when that's the case. But the condition tells me, I think it's had a relatively easy life, you know. I don't think this car's had a hard time of it. The paintwork is very nice. A little bit on the mirror bases, which happens on all these old Astons. It's a 2007 DB9, but I think you've probably worked that out for yourself. Now why this is nice, we've got 40,000 miles showing, but please bear in mind my notes on history there. Recently recommissioned, rare colour combination, automatic of course this. Volcano red is the colour. It's got a really funky red and black leather interior as well. Let me just show you that. Let me just get that open for you. Just look. Now the online MOT history supports the recorded mileage of just 40,000 miles. It's been off the road for a few years, but recently recommissioned by FM Sports Cars at a cost just shy of 1,900 quid. So are you thinking, am I buying myself a load of trouble? Well, no, because it has just been gone through. So you're not taking a total punt on this. We just don't have all the history, but as I say, the MOTs would suggest that mileage is correct. A little bit of delacquering on the roofs. There's a bit of paintwork to do. But because of all those things, you are buying a car that should probably be nearer to 20 something for 11 to 12. I just think someone is going to have an absolute birthday on that and buy a car that's very sensibly priced. You could add value to this car. And also, don't forget, it's not beyond the wit of man, and I've done this before. I've bought unhistoried cars, I've done the detective work, and I've found the histories, and I've, in some cases, doubled the value of the car. I bought a flat-nosed Porsche convertible from California with no history, managed to find the previous owner from one bill, got all the history, provenance of the car, doubled its value. So that might happen with this. If you do a bit of legwork, the car will be known to somebody, a dealer, someone in the owners club, a specialist. Just takes a bit of legwork. But you know, you might get yourself a £5,000 or £6,000 payday if you do. 1990 Alfa Romeo Spider 2 litre with hardtop. And these hardtops are fabulous. Look, they've got this amazing little vented strip in the middle, which is so obvious. Come and have a look at that. Look at that for detail. It's great. This aerated metal strip. This is very nice. It's a very, very rare example in every single way, this. 114,000 miles. That hardtop is such an unusual option. I think that's the second one I've seen ever in my life. You can just imagine the work and money that was. Have a look in there. It's been living the good life on the Isle of Man. I'd like to do that. Great colour combination, of course. Basically, if you buy any Italian sports car, red with cream interior, you've won. People will always want to buy it. So it's on Manx registration. It was originally registered in the UK, which always makes it very, very easy to put it back to a UK registration. Factory manual. It's had a front and rear suspension overhaul. All the parts have been stripped, shot blasted and powder coated and rebuilt with new bushes. New slave cylinder, master cylinder, 4 new wheels, road tyres. I like that a lot. So we'll go back onto UK reg. It's got a little bit of paint work to do. You can just see there's a bit of delacquering happening on this boot. You are going to have to paint that boot, and I would wager looking at it, it's been painted, or the wings have been painted. We've got a slight mismatch there to there. So it's worth spending a teeny bit of money. Red cars, particularly in nice places like the Isle of Man, what you find with red is, particularly when you've got plastic, metal, bumpers, they all age and fade at different rates because the way that the paint works, the pigmentation in the red. So it's not unusual. You might find that they could polish and correct back to a similar colour, but as you've got to paint that to make it perfect. Just bear all of that in mind, but that hardtop, I would imagine, heated, aerated hardtop, I would imagine that's a very expensive item if you could find that on its own. Minis, we have all the minis in the world for you. We love a mini here, and this one's particularly gorgeous. Let me start you inside, see if you could see yourself in there. Racing green, special edition model these. £5,000 to £6,000, 25,000 miles. And it's very, very pretty, this. It really looks like it's done 25,000 miles. Certain minis look tired and like they need a lot of money spending on them. Certain minis have had a lot of money spent on them. This just looks like a really nice, original, clean, tidy car. Let me tell you a little bit more. Advisory free MOT. White roof, obviously coachline details. What I like about this is just a nice mini point. You can spend a ton of money on a mini. I mean, you know, nice minis, as we're about to see, can be into the 20s and 30s. 5-6 grand to me for a perfect starter classic. And we'll talk later about cars that you can buy and keep and look after very, very easily. The Mini is one of those cars. Just 100 specialists here in the UK to help look after it. Parts that come overnight. The ownership experience of a Mini, not least of all with the owners clubs and the various people to look after you, will be wonderful. So it was originally registered abroad before being imported into the UK in 2000. Hence the fact it's got a 2000 V5 on here. So I think almost a show quality car, that, with very little work, bit of paint correction and polishing. But everywhere where Minis are horrendous, this one isn't. All the gutters are good. It's not too bad, just starting to go a little bit, look, on the wing to scuttle where they all go. Very, very early days for that though. Yeah, that's lovely. 5 to 6 grand, you can take that one home. If your budget is slightly higher and you want the 60s aesthetic, this is stunning. This is giving me true Peter Sellers vibes, this. Especially on the little, I think they're Cosmics, I think they are Cosmics on there. 1969 Morris Mini Cooper S. So it's a Cooper S in special order black. Period Webasto roof. It's historic registered, of course. It's got twin tanks, it's got overriders, it's got the 130 mph speedo. Paintwork is very nice on this as well. And all the grot spots where you'd normally find problems on a Mini, of course you have to be careful on the external hinge cars. You can just see it's pretty good. Little bit of a crack underneath the windscreen, tiny bit on the windscreen corner. So again, I'm talking pedantic levels of me just looking into this for you to try and be your eyes and ears. There's not much on this at all. I mean, if you wanted to make it absolutely perfect, you could go and chase those out, but I think you'd have too much fun driving it before that. Starts, it runs, it drives. It's a slidey window, external hinge. Beauty with a fantastic interior. And although I do like the later cars very much indeed, there's a real purity to the design of these, because of course the Isagonis idea was, because of the slidey window, you've got these massive door bins. Because of the tiny binnacle, you've got that huge dash shelf. And actually the early cars in a lot of ways are much cleverer packaging than the later cars, because what happened, I'll show you real quick. If you come to a later car, if you don't know, if you've never had a Mini, you lose a lot of that practicality, because the doors get filled in, so you get a tiny door bin and you only get a tiny shelf. So the early cars really are a bit of genius, but obviously people thought that they couldn't keep that. And that's a real shame, because now you'd be fated as a designer for coming up with such a clever idea. Now, I love an MGB Roadster, but there's something about this one, because it's a pull handle, because it's a steel wheel, because it's tartan red. Have a look at the pictures on this before you buy. It's got that something. It's really hard to describe what it is. We've got a lot of MGs in this sale. It's the way this one sits, the way it's spec'd, the fact it's an earlier car, it's a 62. It's just got it. It's got that thing. Because they're a little bit earlier, they are extraordinarily pretty, these cars as well. 2 former keepers, still got the original registration number. It's got a 5 main bearing engine. It's got a reconditioned 3 synchromesh gearbox. It's converted to 12 volt, and it's got the banjo wheel. And it's in a really nice colour, and just look. So again, look where kind of the wing tops, they always bubble up there. This one hasn't. There's a couple of tiny little fish eyes in the paint, but we'll live with that. Let's have a look in the boot. You got some carpets and spare wheel in there. It's got that thing. I would like to own this. And I think all MGs on all wheels look decent, but there's something about these early 60s cars on the steels with the banjo wheel. They have a real charm, don't they? And what would you pay for that? I don't know. So 73,000 miles, I reckon you'll pay somewhere between 10 and 12 for that car. I think you'd have an extraordinary summer if you did. I really do. But have a look at the picture, see what I mean about how it sits. That notwithstanding, the GT, again, this sits and looks beautiful. Obviously, being a 74, this must be the last of the chrome bumpers, or has it had a back date? Let me have a look. Let me tell you. So power steering has been fitted to this car. So if you are thinking, I would like an older 60s car, I worry about the steering being heavy, not on this one. This has a full power steering conversion, a very nice mounted wheel, and if you shoot through the roof, lots of lovely wood upgrades on here as well. Huge history file. Now we're talking about a car that you could buy for £5,000 or £6,000, and if you look here in the boot, look, we've got this wonderful show plaque board which comes with the car, so that when you're at shows you can tell the history and all the places that it's been. This is glacier white, had a lot of money spent. Now, for the last 11 years our vendors had this. Engine and gearbox have been removed, cylinder heads have been converted, the carbs have been overhauled. Basically, I won't bore you with the entire list. Please do read it online. It's had a huge amount of money spent on it. Rear bumper's been re-chromed, front bumper. Yeah, so it's been tastefully modified. This is a last of chrome bumper car. So 74 is the cut over year. And this is the last of the factory chrome bumpers. It's lovely inside, isn't it? It's a very opulent feel in there. Yeah, 5 to 6 grand, you can take that one home. Or a rubber bumper car. You know my thoughts on rubber bumper cars. I think they represent excellent value for money. They're no less usable. In fact, in some ways, for the modern world, they're more usable. If you park on the street and you get a little kiss in the traffic jam, it's not going to hurt. 5 to 6 grand to buy this. 82,000 miles on this one. Really nice colour as well. We think it's got an uprated engine, according to the vendor. Sounds very sweet. The engine capacity is showing as 1950, where it should be 1796 on one of these. So we think someone's had a little cheeky stroke and bore on there. Now, I've driven a couple of MGs with that engine conversion in. Places like MGOC do it, and it mega transforms the car. It really does. Just gives it a bit more torque and wallop. It makes it a very usable thing. I see we've got the overdrive on there as well. Very nicely spec that. So it's actually first registered over here in 1991, so I wonder if at some point that car's been abroad. But again, tax exempt, MOT exempt. It's in lovely condition, all the places where this go, this one hasn't. And if you've got 5 or 6 grand and you want to get the wind in your hair, in a very beautiful MGB, there's your car. Or you can always pick your colour. This is interesting because it's an LE. Now this should have had like the 5-spoke wheels on it because it's the run-out car. But somebody's put these wires on, which I don't dislike, but I think if it was me, I would put back on the original wheels because they are so groovy. But like a Triumph Stag style wheel. It's got its very non-more period 1980 interior. And this is the correct colour for an LE. This is basically the run-out. This is the dying days of the MGB. Sad time. It's a rare and unspoilt 83,000 miles, can't read. 83,000 miles. And it's an MGB Jubilee and LE Owners Club Certificate of Authenticity. Now that colour was only available for this model. That seat fabric was only available for this model as well. It's got the Clarion stereo. A couple of minor imperfections on the paint, but nothing you couldn't live with and have fun with. The hood's nice. It's had a service at 570 quid. So she's kind of ready for the summer. She really is. And very, very pretty. The doors shut nicely. I also see as well, I see what looks like Zybart plugs on the doors. So in the days, people would drill, fill it full of cavity wax and put these little plugs in. It's actually quite a good sign. Normally someone drilling into your car is not a good thing, but on cars like this, it normally means they're full of wax oil or Zybart. Great stuff. And how much would you pay for that? We have guided that lovely car at 5 to 6. So basically, if you've got about 6 grand and you fancy a nice MGB, we've got tons. You can almost come and pick the colour. But I would save the money if it was me. What would I have? I would have this. I love MGBs, but I like Mustangs more. This is groovy, isn't it? Now, Mustang Fastbacks are the ones that everyone goes wild for, but I don't know why. I actually prefer the notchback. I think it's a more balanced design. I particularly like the C-pillar treatment on a Mustang. This is a 67, the year that everyone tells you to buy. Mustang notchback. Now, why do you want this? Well, it's got a 302 cubic inch V8. 6.5 grand has been spent on this car this year. Rebuilt engine, new rad and fuel tank. The classic colour combination of white with red. And just clearly a car that's had a lot of love. Owned by the same family since import. The condition of this car could not be better for me, meaning it is not perfect. Meaning if you look, there are little tiny chips and marks all over, little imperfections, which I would not bother to sort. I really wouldn't. It's just not that kind of car. I would very much embrace that slight level of patination for what it is, which really suits the look of the thing, and also just enjoy it. Don't restore this car because you'll never drive it. Just drive it like this, looking absolutely phenomenal. Same on the seat. See, there's a little bit on the seat there. You could get that done. That looks like mouse damage, actually. It's been munched. I think a mouse has been munching on that seat. Little devil. Well, it's been in storage somewhere. What else has it got? Rebuilt carbs, new points, new fuel pump, new starter motor, new aluminium rad, new thermostat. It's been loved greatly, but despite all of that, you could buy that car for somewhere between £11,000 and £13,000 with all of that work done to it. Lots of photos documenting the recent work, and it just looks good. It's just got, again, it sits right for what it is. I don't mind the chips and marks at all. I might get the seat repaired where the mouse has been having his lunch. Apart from that, I'd leave it. That's a nice car. A couple of little dents, but again, it's all part of the character. All part of the character of that car. Now this, I am lucky enough to have a Corvette C3. Mine is the Coupe. I've always thought the convertible is the most dramatic and most wonderful looking of all the Corvettes, and yet they're still, relatively speaking, a bit of a bargain. It's one of those cars, isn't it, that looks like a show car that escaped the showroom floor, particularly in convertible form. Now this one is 22 to 24,000, 1969, and this colour, which I think the astronauts' cars were this colour as well, because they gave Corvettes to all the astronauts, didn't they? They had gold cars, and it was only available for 69. That's a manual car, which is normally the criticism of American sports cars, is they come in automatic. This one is a manual. It's a 1 year only colour. It's got the rally wheels. It's a 350 brake horsepower V8. And actually, they handle okay. I'm not going to say it's like Porsche 911 levels of dynamics, but you don't really care. When you look this good, you really don't care. Very clever, because this folds up and the roof comes out. But because of that, you get this gorgeous fared-in back end. I think the line of these cars is just absolutely peerless. I think nothing really looks as good as these cars. They're just fantastic looking things. And that is the wheel that you want to have on a C3, the rally wheel. What else can I tell you? It has been brought into the UK in September 24 for the vendor's wedding. What a great wedding car. And not used much since. So the paintwork's perfect. The cover that covers the wiper arms is stuck open. So this here, so this is meant to go down. So if you can imagine, that actually folds flat. The wiper tucks away. It's really clever. The wiper to give you that perfect streamlined look, and that has stuck open. So that needs a little bit of work. There's a YouTube fix for that if you want to know how to do it. A couple of little tears and marks. So, you know, a few Sundays and a few £100, you would have an immaculate car there. And I think for the money, nothing looks or poses or sounds like it. I think the styling of these just gets better and better. And I do think they're massively undervalued as well. I think if that was any other manufacturer from the 60s with that level of look, it would be worth a huge amount more money. And interestingly, people are starting to realise that, and the prices are coming up. Again, Bentley Turbo R. If you're on a little bit more of a budget, not much more, this is 10 to 12. If you don't fancy that lovely ruby red one I showed you earlier, how about this in the classic colour combination of British Racing Green, 10 to 12,000. This gentleman wants to be in the video. You're very welcome to, sir. That's all right, sir. You could be my co-presenter. Now, this one has done, according to this, I think 130,000 miles. Amazing service history, factory build details, comes from an enthusiast, and it is in gorgeous condition. I keep looking at these, I shouldn't, because I think they'll be financially ruinous for me, but you just feel extraordinarily special when you drive one of these, you really do. Because at the time, they were a huge amount of money. You're talking in the 80s and 90s, cars that cost as much as a small house. And you really get that feeling when you're driving it. You really get the feeling of a car that's as much as a house. Wonderful history with this. It's not often you see paperwork as good as this car. The start of the paperwork comes with the order forms. It's got service history. Shows when we've had things like the picnic tables added. Yes, in fact, this car, when it was new, £109,000. £109,000 in 1993. Yeah, you really could have got a very nice house for £109,000 in 1993. You really could. Crikey, alrighty. I think I bought my first house in 1993 for 27 grand. So you could have bought 4 of those. Right, it shows me age now, doesn't it? Jensen Interceptors, we know, are the most wonderful car. Everything you like in a car. Italian styling, American engine, British built. What's not to love? The only thing you never want to do with the Jensen is restore on. Ask me how I know. That's the way to lose a load of money, is to restore a Jensen. The best thing to do is exactly what you will do, hopefully on Saturday, is to buy one that's had all the money, love and attention lavished upon it, and then you come and steal it for probably about a third or half the price. This is clever buy for somebody. So 1974 Jensen Interceptor 3 with only 55,000 miles and electronic overdrive and the lamb's wool inserts on the seats. There are bills for the last 10 years for over £22,000 and work carried out in 2016 for the 5,700, a full history file. It's got factory aircon, it's got Pirelli Cinturatos on it. They only made about 2,500 of these in right-hand drives. They're a rare old bust anyway, and this one has clearly gone through life wanting for nothing. Now, a lot of those invoices are from Croppery Garage. Now, they helped us when we did our restoration. They are the guys, they really are. Not cheap, because the best never is, but they are the people that know these cars inside out and backwards, and they have been doing a lot of the work on this car. MOT certificates going back to 1980, and just the chance to get a good one. There's a lot of rubbish in the Jensen market for sale, a lot of cars that are tarted up and blown over when they were inexpensive and starting to get expensive. This one is very much not that. This one is very much a car that's been done properly, correctly, and had all the money spent. So you could buy that, I think, for 45, 50, something like that. And a great chance to own a beautiful car. Now, for the next car, which is slightly aged, I need my learned and fantastically erudite and articulate presenter. It's George. Now it's time for my favourite part of the walk around, when I bring out my learned colleague George. George, racy numbers from the 1930s, something you know very well about. The Lagonda Rapier from 1935. Why, apart from the fact it's achingly beautiful, why should we find room for this in our garage?
Well, because I think it's an unbelievably rare car. It's a car that I've known for a very long time. Sadly, the gentleman's passed away, and he loved driving this car. If you look at the history file that's come with it, you'll see that I think in 2010 or 11, he's in the French Alps in the snow and ice that you see, like the Monte Carlo Rally. Some wonderful pictures, and he drove it enormously and had a lot of fun. These are, for the size of the engines, very powerful. People used to put superchargers on, and they'll probably do more than 90 mile an hour.
Because these are 1104, aren't they? 1104cc, chain driven, twin overhead cams, twin SUs, pre-selected gearbox. So that doesn't sound like the recipe for speed, but they're a lot faster than they sound, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think there's two things I'm going to say initially. First of all, this car originally was actually a saloon, you know, like a lot of the cars, 80 and 90 years, they just fall apart. And then it's obviously had this replica body put on many, many years ago. The history file on the car goes back very well to 1989, and a lot of this work was done in the early 90s. And you can see it's just a beautifully proportioned sports car. I mean, it was on competitions against Rileys and Singers and whatever, but this is a great car. Pre-selector box. People say, oh, it's a bit of a problem. Well, with a pre-selector box, there's a bit of an advantage because, of course, you select the gear next one, and when you're going around a corner, you've got both hands on the steering wheel, so you can steer it as you're going around and keep the power on rather than having to turn things. And you can see, I love just the bucket seats in it. I love the way the tonneau all fits. A beautiful aluminium tank on the back, luggage rack that you can put on the back, and off you go. And you know, even under here, under the seat, I can't show you now, they had a rally at some stage up, I think it was in the Lake District, and there's a list of all the rapiers that came to the actual event, and it's in a little compartment down under
Unbelievable.
there. Yeah.
And what's crazy about this, despite everything you've just said, the wonderful history, the provenance, the coach work that's been done onto it, these are not huge expensive cars. This is 25 to 27, we've guided this out.
Yes, I mean,
It's a lot of car for the money, isn't it?
It is. I mean, there's a lot of people say about buying a pre-war car. You know, I know, I've got a pre-war car, and people probably watching this video will say, oh, well, he's always like pre-war cars. Well, yeah. I do, because I think they've got a lot of character and a lot of fun. And I think, you know, you actually can keep them going, have them properly serviced, and they'll give you miles and miles and miles of fun. And my goodness me, to sit in that car and drive to south of France, what a journey that must have been.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So that's one option of your pre-war money, or moving on to this. Now this is rather special indeed. This rather fabulous Bentley. So tell me about this. This, I think, in terms of how it sits and how it looks, the coachwork, the size, the style, this is a bit of me, George.
Well, this is a very special car. You know that I'm over 21 years of age, and I've known about this car for very nearly 50 years. Very quickly, as long as we don't bore people to death. I worked in the late 70s, for a company called Roving Restoration, which was based in Manchester, and they did a lot of work on my Singer. In 1981, this was a bare chassis and was brought to Roving Restoration to a team of very professional people that could make bodies, aluminium, paint and whatever.
So this is effectively all scratch built?
It was.
Unbelievable.
And if you look at the history file, it's all there. Roy Ashton, who ran Roving Restoration, he made all the wood ash frame. In fact, it was said when he did it, it was a shame to panel it because the actual care that went into it. And when I say, if you look at this body was made in the late, look how this still fits.
Unbelievable, it's not moved at all, is it?
Not at all. And you know, the paint, Norman who painted this, painted my car, that was painted probably in late 81 or 82.
Wow.
Right, and you know, with this. But the important thing about it is, I have a picture here.
Come and zoom in on that.
Of the car at Alton Park in 83 with Jackie Blakely with her big fuzzy hair, very good friend of mine. Her husband loves classic cars as well. That is that car at Alton Park on old outside Lodge Corner.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but look at that, 4.25. Look at the quality of that engine. You can see everything. Still got the matching number down there, that's very important. Was originally a saloon car, but it is a true Derby Bentley. But we're now with this beautiful coachwork that's been in for such a long time. Very elegant. I drove it for the video. I loved every minute of it because I'd been in it before but forgot how good it was.
And how many pennies should we save up for this, George, on Saturday? What do you think this will go for?
Well, I mean, I think...
Obviously, lots of money is our dream.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's a 60 grand plus car. To have it built like this today, you're into a lot more money than that. It's a full four-seater. It has a trunk on the back, so it's got all the weather equipment in the trunk at the back. It's a very, and I mean, as I say, I've just known this car for such a long time, and I'm hoping whoever buys it will have as much fun out of it as Doug did when he had the car.
There you go, George. As ever, mate, thank you for your insight to this world, because you know far more about it than I do. So there you go, George, his wise words and his 2 picks for the sale. Thank you, George. He always makes everything better because, of course, he remembers when these cars were new. He really does. And he's got a new haircut. Did you notice that? But this is gorgeous. This was in our supercar sale, and I couldn't believe it didn't sell because it's one of the prettiest I've seen. 1966 Jaguar E-Type 4.2 Coupe, subject to a complete and very extensive and very expensive restoration. Now, you could buy this car, I would imagine, somewhere between 75 and 85,000 pounds, showing 9,000 miles, one imagines, since this very expensive restoration. And let me show you inside. A car that really doesn't want anything. Unbelievable condition, huge amounts of history, and stunning in every single way, this one. Now, it came into the UK in 2011 and had no previous owners, and the heritage certificate tells us it was a personal export in 1965. There was also left-hand drive when it left, but it's been converted professionally at some point to right-hand drive. Now, the history is absolutely sublime because it was owned by a specialist, so we've got so much evidence to show what was done. No invoices for the labour because obviously the classic car restoration specialist did that himself, but there's over £120,000 worth of work and parts in this car, so somebody's going to get a bargain, and it is flawless. It is ready to go. If you want a car to show at top level, and I mean above club level concours, this is that level of motor car. This really is the one that you want. Everything's been done. Let me just talk you through some of the things. So parts replaced include lower bonnet, front section, both front wings, bonnet hinge, picture frame, bonnet mount frame. It's the extensive list. It's basically the parts catalogue you need to do whenever you do an old E-Type have all been done and bought and fitted beautifully. Matching numbers, and it's just, I think, the best colour. I love this primrose. It's fantastic. Right-hand drive, matching numbers car in a wonderful colour, 75 to 85,000 pounds. Have a bid on that if you fancy one. Right, into the other hall now, and of course it's a beautiful summer's day. I've got my shorts on. You need to be cruising around in a Triumph TR6. I like TR6s a lot. I like all TRs, to be fair, but for me, the Michelotti design, the cam tail, perhaps a little bit more usable. But actually, these were Carman, weren't they, that did these? You've got the best bits of the Michelotti car and the best bits of the Carman add-ons. Best of both worlds. Now, what's so nice about this one was it's tax exempt, of course. It's an 83,000 miles. It's manual with overdrive, and it has an enormous history file and 150 horsepower. Now, not one, at least 2 photographic, detailed explanations of ownership. Exactly the kind of thing, when you're buying an old car, you always want to look, don't you, at the paperwork and think, I feel reassured. I feel like I know everything I need to know about buying this car. This one's going to give you all of that. It does put out a little bit of smoke. We think probably valve stem oil seals probably is what it needs. So budget on a little bit to do. The car's presentable, a few little blisters and micro blisters on the paint. But because of that, it's not going to be enormous amounts of money, 10 to 12 grand to buy yourself a beautiful TR6, which you can easily add value to. And as I say, spend a little bit of time and effort doing those valve stem seals. You'll have, I think, a perfect car. It looks like it's had some brand new wheels and some very, very recent tyres on there as well. So money has been spent so that you don't have to. The hood shows no signs of damage. So there you go. Lots to love, tiny bit of work to do, but because of that, 10 to 12 grand. And she can be yours. Another magnificent Cowland Jaguar. But look at the condition of this, 2008 Jaguar XK. I couldn't be more in love with the colour combination of this one because it's got the lighter, almost white leather in this. This feels very Miami. Come and have a look in here, look. Come and sit yourself in there, see if you like the look of it. 12 to 14,000 pound would buy you this motor car. And it has to be the best colourway, it really does. That light blue metallic, 68,000 miles, automatic. It's got the V8 engine, nice spec, fresh MOT on there as well. It's got the 20-inch centre wheels on with the correct Dunlops. They need a little bit of a refurb, by the way, just a tiny little bit to do on those splits. They're such a nice wheel. And apart from that, pretty much ready to go. Just needs a light detail, I say, wheel refurb. What else does it need? Not a lot, you know. But just look at that, particularly from the rear 3/4 here, Phil. Just come and stand and look from the back. Just ask yourself the question, 12 to 14,000 pounds. Could I spend that any better, buy anything any more stylish? I don't think you could. And they are just magnificent things to drive these, and you will feel very, very special and accomplished when you drive that. A little bit smaller, a little bit rarer. A Lotus Europa Special, aren't these just the craziest looking things? Still, these look absolutely bonkers. in the none more brilliant sort of JPS evocative black with a very fine gold stripe. This is a Europa Special. Obviously got a Ford twin cam in there with a big valve head, a 5-speed gearbox, stainless steel exhaust. I bet that sounds absolutely superb. Had a full engine rebuild at 72,000 miles at a cost of over £6,000, and the car's only done 75,000 miles now. And that replay was done in 2018, and we've got history on this car going all the way back to the 1980s. JPS colours, as you can see, 5-speed gearbox in this one, MOT exempt and tax exempt. Isn't that a lot of fun? I've always wanted one of these, but I have about 2 hopes of getting anywhere near. What we might do is a separate video. I won't do it now because it could interrupt the flow of this video because I might never get out. But yeah, me folding myself into there could be quite hilarious. We might do that for social media for you. Could I extricate myself afterwards? But this one's back in with a low reserve, and maybe you might like to buy it this time. And why would you not? Beautiful, beautiful swallowtail Giugiaro, crisp as you like, Mark 1 Golf. I was chatting to my friend Ian Callum at a recent evening we did at the British Motor Museum about cars he thought were perfectly styled, and one of the cars he mentioned, that's the gentleman that's designed the Jaguar that you've just seen, and he reckoned it was this. He reckoned Giugiaro design Mark 1 Golf is about as perfect as a hatchback has ever been. This one's lovely, 15 to 17 grand, UK supplied, right-hand drive example, had a nut and bolt restoration. What they've done, as you can see, is they've left some of the originality on the seats and interior. So if you look on the back seat, for instance, if you're just going a little bit threadbare, there's always that thing you wonder when you're restoring a vehicle, where do I stop? Do I keep the originality of the seat fabric, and therefore if it's got a pull or a tear or a run, and then it's not original anymore if I restore it? So I respect what they've done there. They've done a really nice restoration, but they've left as much of the original car as they can. Very much a Drew Pritchard thing to do. I think it very much works on this. These are phenomenally popular for lots of reasons because they work very well as a classic in their own right. They're also very nice to drive, these. Very nice to drive. But take it to any water-cooled classic or even air-cooled classic Volkswagen show, and I think because of what it is, people would like this very much. The dynamics of this car, bearing in mind it's a 1975 car, so believe it or not, it's 50 years old, this car. It doesn't look it, does it? Drives like a 80s or 90s hatchback. They're unbelievable. And of course, it's a 5-seater with a decent sized boot. So there you go. Moving quickly over this, Lotus Sunbeam. You'll know, if you know, the Mark II Escort alternative. We think we may have found a home for this. So someone's actually offered a amount of money to take that out of the sale with our 3-stage sales process. If you want to make an offer to our vendor before the sale of the correct amount of money, we always put those bids forward. And sometimes the vendor says, yes, please, I'll take that and run. And that may have happened in that case. But just in case that doesn't happen, keep an eye out on auction day. It may still be for sale. Now this is a bit of fun, isn't it? If you want to launch Operation Desert Storm at a beach near you, this is probably the vehicle you want. And certainly if we ever get another fuel crisis again, you will be the most popular person in town because look how much fuel you can legally carry in this vehicle. It's absolutely outrageous. 4 jerry cans on the bonnet, 2 either side, and then we've got 8 on the back. So yes, you can pretty much run an entire race team for a weekend on the amount of fuel that you can carry on this Willys Jeep. 1943, it's the most amount of jerry cans I've ever seen on a vehicle. SAS Desert Colours that. Now, these I think are astonishing amount of truck for the money, particularly if you like fuel cans. 20 to 22,000 pounds, showing 102 miles since the restoration. And just done, now I'm no expert, I don't know if this is period correct, I'm sure there's people watching who know far more than I, whether this is done correctly, but it just looks and feels right to me. It looks like everything that you would want to see is there. You've got your flask on the side, as I say, more fuel cans than Esso. Isn't it just an amazing thing? Very much a one-off. It's correctly registered in the UK, this one. What else can I tell you about it? So the wings are Ford stamped, as they should be. The engine is Ford like it should be. The tailgate is new, as they couldn't say the original. All the correct identity is in the right places on this one as well. It's got the T84 gearbox, the original springs and axles. And as I say, this is SAS Desert Colours. So huge amounts of fun. I would imagine if you're into any kind of military events or Second World War stuff, this is for you. Or even just collect American cars. I would like to own that. It's really weird. I think taking that down the pub, you get a lot of fun out of that. You really would, wouldn't you? Great, great thing. 20 to 22 grand, that could be yours. Moving on, we have to have a beautifully presented classic Ford in every Manor Park sale. You know that. This is gorgeous, isn't it? Another car I wouldn't have contemplated in gold. This is how you know you're getting old, because suddenly gold cars become really attractive. Look at the paint on this. It's really nice. So this is, oh, and Jim's just turn around, look. This is the kind of colleagues I have. Jim, look. Thank you. It's important just to keep me going. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. It's like passing the Olympic torch, isn't it? To keep me going. What a nice man. Now, I'll put this with the other fluid containers on there. You're keeping me going because we do rattle through these. And then poor old Charlotte has to edit them all and chapterise them. So if you've ever easily found the car you want, thank Charlotte for that. She chapterises them all and goes through all the rubbish that I speak and makes it easy for you to find. Charming, gorgeous, lovely and incredibly tidy, with very nice paint actually on this car, I have to say. This is a 1979 Fiesta 1 litre L. So fast it is not, but gorgeous it definitely is. So obviously there's a scene for fast Fords. This is the other end of the scale. This is slow Fords, this one. 47,000 miles, very original and unsport, but I would say has had paintwork and has had those seats recovered very well, I might add, as well. My iPad is misbehaving. Starts on the choke with just a little tickle. And also if you're of a certain age, and I definitely am of that age, these little Fiesta engines just have such a distinctive sound. When this thing starts up, you hear it and you're just immediately taken back to the late 70s. And again, a bit like the Golf, perfect styling. This car, absolutely beautifully proportioned. They had to do so little to facelift for the Mark II. Isn't it lovely? The low mileage of 47,000 we think is correct, 47,000 miles. Although there is an anomaly in 2009 that the mileage was stated as 444,000. I don't think it's done 444,000 miles. I mean, I'm sure a well-maintained Fiesta might be able to do 500,000 miles, but I think that's probably an MOT tester putting 40 something in and miskeying. I would say that was probably 44,000 miles, don't you? The car was last serviced in 2023, less than 1,000 miles ago. So it's registered as historic, it's exempt from absolutely everything, which is always fun. And now, you know those really rare Vauxhall Tigras that you never see? Here's a Vauxhall Tigra. And I can give you a little spoiler now. If you like Tigras, we've got more coming later in the video. We seem to have every Vauxhall Tigra for sale today in the UK is here in Runcorn. This is gorgeous, 1998. Tigra checkers, 22,000 miles from new, 26 stamps in the book. You're going to need to find £5,000 or £6,000 to buy this gorgeous little coupe. But one former keeper offered an original spec. It's had the cam belt changed in 2022 at 20,000 miles. Like I say, 26 stamps in the book. That's almost been serviced every, 26 stamps in the book, 22,000 miles. So it's been serviced about every 800 miles. It is therefore, as you would imagine, condition-wise. If you want to buy a Tigra with no mileage, it looks almost as new, it's been serviced every 800 miles. I think I would quite like to own a car like that, actually. Ever so nice. I can't really fault it, you know. Being really pedantic, like tiny, tiny marks. Tiny little mark and scratch on the wing, there you go. Tiny little mark and scratch on the wheel. Just there. So get your smart repairman to come and spend a Sunday afternoon at your house. Spend, I don't know, 300 or 400 quid. And then you'd probably have a concourse car. That's epic. And don't forget, 90s cars are where the money is going. 90s cars are what everybody is interested in and everybody wants to own. Relocate, relocate. Right, next one, E's are good. We know that, the song told us that. But Viva E's are really good, particularly because there's just none left and you never see them for sale. You know my thoughts on Vauxhalls versus Fords price-wise. You always seem to get a lot more Vauxhall for your money. Imagine if this was a 1970s Capri in this condition with 56,000 miles on, with 2 former keepers and a stack of history. In that level of detail, you'd be well into 5 figures, but because it's a Vauxhall, 6 to 7. And I actually think the Viva Coupe is, I don't know, it's a bit rare, isn't it? It's a bit more unusual. You've got the whole Jerry Marshall thing, of course, as well, which makes it even groovier. So have a look at this. 12 stamps in the service history booklet, 4-speed synchromesh gearbox on this. No other car offers you this much refinement for this little. That's not my words, that's the words of the Vauxhall brochure. So I just don't think you'd ever see another one for sale. It's got the vinyl roof, which is so amazingly right for the time. The interior is nice, which I would say is probably all the original interior. Like I say, imagine if that was a contemporary Ford of the same mileage and condition. It would be a lot of day, wouldn't it? Ready to go and enjoy and probably have a lot of people going, not seen one of those for ages, which is always fun. I love cars that when you fill them up, you're at the pump and someone always comes up to you and goes, wow, my dad had one of those, not seen one of those for years. I think you'll definitely get that with this. And it is really clean, folks. It is really, really clean and very lovely. Just unspoiled and unmessed with. An awful lot to love. I'd imagine whoever was lucky enough to drive that out the showroom in the mid-70s was very, very pleased with himself and thought they'd done rather well. And you can recreate that feeling for the present day if you've got about 6 or 7 grand. Now, cars that do make you feel very special when you drive them away, particularly in this fabulous colour combination. What was I saying about cars that join us, go to a home, they have fun with it, and then they come back for sale? This one's back for sale. Let's have a look at the year. Sorry, my iPad's gone a little bit wrong. I do apologise. 1988, there you go. 1988 Jaguar XJS 5.3 convertible with just 50,000 miles. I like every XJS convertible. I'm the worst Jag fanboy you've ever seen. I've got a few Jags. But look at the colourway of this. You've got white with brown with walnut with a really beautiful Nardi wheel, which is such a nice upgrade on these as well. It's got aircon despite the fact it's a convertible as well. Loads of history and has been used in Germany. So it's lived over there for a bit. I wonder if it's like a diplomatic sale. These are just such pretty cars, aren't they? But yet, despite that, 13 to 15 grand would buy you this car. And again, with the XJS, I always say it, they are just such a beautiful, no effort, low money car. We've got some other ones, some cheaper coupes coming outside later, but the convertible just screams old money. If you want to pull outside your mansion house, this is the car to do it. And I know the collection this has come from, and that's exactly where it's been living, outside a very, very nice house. So if you want to recreate the vibe of that, even if you live in a 1950s bungalow as I do, it doesn't matter if you've got your XJS parked outside. Now this, you may have known if you're a serial follower and you watch all of our output. Firstly, thank you very much indeed. But secondly, you'll recognise this from Southampton. Now that's the beauty of us now. Now we're a family of auction houses. So we've got Manor Park in the north, in Runcorn. We've got Barron's in Southampton in the south. Now this car originally came into the south. Now, for whatever reason, it just could be whoever was there on the day or watching online, didn't sell for the amount that we wanted for the vendor. So now we brought it up north, because that's the beauty of what we do. We've got these 2 outlets, we've got different audiences, different people, different sales days. We've got the flexibility for you. If you're thinking of consigning a car with us, we can always try it in Southampton. If it doesn't work there, we can bring it here, or vice versa. Just keeps our stock fresh, keeps people interested. And often with a car, all it needs is a change of scenery or a change of people viewing it, and it can drastically change the outcome of the sale. And that's exactly what we've done, and we'll do it for you as well. If it doesn't work down south, it can come up north, or vice versa. Right, this is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. One of those cars that you never see rust-free, yet this one is completely rust-free. Alfa Romeo, Alfa Stud, Sprint Veloce. One of my favourite cars, these. Condition is just mind-blowing. It's left-hand drive. Do not be put off by a left-hand drive car, particularly when it's as rust-free as this. Why is it not working? That's operator error. Right, have a look through there and see what it's all about. 51,000 miles, manual gearbox of course, stunning condition with really nice paint and very nice period alloys, but appears to be a factory spec car. Had a full bare metal shell rebuild, the engine is less than 2,000 miles old, and the car has only had 3,000 miles since it's had a ton of work. Isn't it beautiful? And everywhere you look, every seam, every corner, everywhere you'd be expecting to see a little bit of rust, just doesn't have any. That's because this is a French example that's lived, I would imagine, in a very hot, dry part of France. And it's very evident that it's not seen salt or bad weather. So the French MOT was dated 2019 and bought in since then, and then it's had a ton of money and time and effort spent on it, and it's absolutely beautiful. If you're thinking, would I rather have a slightly rusty right-hand drive one or a rust-free left-hand drive one, and you're not used to driving left-hand drive, have a go. All I'd say is you get very quickly used to driving a left-hand drive car. Think of all the times you've been on holiday to Spain or Tenerife and you've hired one. A couple of days you're in it, aren't you, in the groove. You just get a much better car, and obviously because we advertise internationally and there are always international buyers for left-hand drive cars and all of Europe is left-hand drive, there's always homes for them, so don't be put off by left-hand drive car. Always buy condition, spec, history, mileage. Almost that's incidental. You'll get used to it, honestly, I promise you. Another beautiful TR, a little bit earlier this one, with a lovely Surrey roof as well, which is very nice, and a heated back window. What a treat, what a luxury for a car of that period. 1964 TR4. Do you prefer Michelotti or do you prefer the common adaptation? What's your preference? Now again, these are just becoming utter bargains. We did a beautiful one of these on the show. We did a TR4A. This has got a very nice wood kit in it as well. 75,000 miles on this, factory overdrive, lots of money spent. And as I say, that's Surrey top, and they are an expensive item, those. And that's so much money to do that properly. Right. UK right-hand drive example with overdrive, as I say. 4 previous owners, that's it. Massive history file with loads of MOTs going all the way back to 89, loads of invoices, and over 13 grand spent in our vendor's tenure. Just please have a look. There's a lot of paperwork with this, and it's had a lot of money spent on the right kind of things with the right kind of people. The seats are nice, the dash is good. Just starting to bubble in a couple of little places here, look, just on the scuttle there, 1 or 2 bits. Doors fit pretty well. Little blister on the boot. So she's not concours, but you could tidy that as you go and you'll have an awful lot of fun. But for 10 or 12,000 pounds, come on, what a lot of car for the money. And that's a real treat, having a heated back window. It really extends the ownership period. And again, of course, because of the age of the car, it's exempt from absolutely everything other than fun. It's not exempt from that. Old Money Morgan, just sits right, doesn't it? Look, steel wheels. It's got the 4-seat configuration as well, being the 4.4. Utterly charming, this. 9 to 11,000 pound will buy this. Again, a car that looks like it's been in the family for years, doesn't it? You own this or drive around in this. There's a new Morgan out. It's very, very expensive, but it is making everybody look at older Morgans and thinking, I might like to buy one of those. 61,000. Look at this. This is the best description ever. Look. Here's the main points. Patina, 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 more patina. If we, on telly, spent weeks and weeks and weeks trying to dress a car to make it look perfectly patinated, which does happen, particularly when we've done stuff for film prep and things like that. I have patinated cars for films. You couldn't get it to look as good as this. You could spend weeks with very established and clever artisan people that know how to distress leather and distress paint, and it just wouldn't look as good as this. It is the most perfect patination. In fact, there's an E-Type that's coming in a minute, which is equally as good. And because I've spent so long working with my little Welsh friend, I'm now entering that period of my life where actually I really start to appreciate that something that's a little bit careworn has way more charm and appeal and usability and practicality than something that's show fresh. Because the problem with concours cars is you never drive them. Stuff like this, you'll drive the wheels off it, but it looks just as good. Massive history file. Do have a look at this as well. Please come and look through the bills because there's all sorts to talk about there. It's got scuffs, it's got marks, but it's actually really level and straight and a decent little car that hangs together perfectly. Not one to buy if you're going to go into a show winning environment, but one to buy, use, take the kids out in, take the dog out in, and just have a lot of fun. Side screens, roof, tonneau cover and picnic blanket. Buy it, fuel it, drive it, love it. Exactly that. Take it out and enjoy it. I get it. I totally get it. Great description, guys, whoever wrote that one. And this is the same thing in E-Type form, basically. So have a look at the paint on this. So again, there's no rot or problem areas on the car, but what you do have is slightly scuffed, slightly discoloured paint, the odd little scratch and mark, even crazing in the paint. But what you must never do with this car is touch that. I'd leave it exactly as it is. All on the roof, look, every panel, if you look, you can see you've just got sinkage. I mean, you could restore it, but why would you? 28 to 32 grand we've estimated this at. It's a really nice looking car. Look at this on the roof, look, it's fantastic. I actually think you get way more respect and way more kudos just leaving it as it is. Right-hand drive car, very usable, loads of history and a ton of old MOTs. And that chance to buy a really rare thing, which is a level, usable E-Type that doesn't have a whole load of problems for not a massive amount of money. Now, it should be on a J, but it's on an L, being a Series 2. As far as we can tell, it was built as a right-hand drive with power steering. That's the other thing. Very, very rare to find factory power steering on a car like this. History is lovely. Great set of photographs, lots of handwritten notes detailing the service history, and even some copies of sales invoices from when it's changed hands. So not thorough history. We're not talking about like the beautiful Primrose car that we had in the other sale room, but what a lot of car for the money. What a usable, fabulous E-Type that you can just create some memories with. Don't over-restore cars. That's my advice. You never use them. Well, E30 BMWs we know are astonishingly good news, particularly in this colour. This one is gorgeous, being the 4-door. 2 doors are the ones that fetch all the monies. The 4 doors are the ones that you probably have to use a little bit more, particularly if you've got kids. £6,000 to £7,000 is our estimate on this. Fresh MOT, family owned for the last 10 years, and it's a luxe as well, which gives you that little bit more trim. You've got the roof, you've got the bottle top wheels, it's a manual, it's got all the right things, it's even in a colour. 111,000 miles, which of course is nothing on these. And with Calypso Red, which I do think is one of the classic E30 colours, it just looks so good, doesn't it? Now the owner bought the car for his son, who shortly after taking delivery, decided to join the Navy. Didn't drive it very much. Now, it's very clean. I would say that's been repainted, but it has been done incredibly well. I don't mind paint if it's done properly, and that has been done really well, that one. E30s I think are a bit special, particularly in 4-door form, because they're just so usable. You could, if you understood it, you could daily that, you know. They are that usable. I think I'd be inclined just to tuck it away when the Salt came out, but it's certainly an 8th month of the year car. With that sort of mileage, 111,000, you haven't got to be too precious about tucking it away. You can enjoy it and have some fun with it. Another Alfa Stud. How have we managed to get multiple examples of cars that you never find nice ones of for sale? In this set, we've got 3 Tigras, all of which are pretty much mint. I've got 2 Alfa Studs, the car that disappears to ferrous oxide before your eyes, in rust-free form. I don't know how the team does it, I really don't. They're on fire, our consigning team. Look at this fabulous thing. So the later Alfa Stud, this one, 1.3. Now this is a no reserve car, but it's showing 17,000 miles from new. And when you look around, particularly things like seat bolsters, which is like a wafer thin fabric on this car, they don't wear well. Armrests, which is all still matted and grainy, steering wheel. A lot of this suggests that could be true. It really does. Very original, very unspoilt. Now the Alfa Stud, the 1.3 is not a fast car, but the Alfa Stud is always referenced, both in period road tests and even today, by fantastic motoring journalists as one of the cars that sets the benchmark for front-wheel drive handling. They are such a hoot. Even with the 1.3, which is not a quick car, it will go where you point it and do things that you want it to do. It's kind of, forget the 205 GTI, this car did it first. And some might argue even better. Great handling car, this. Engine's in rude health. We have the original book pack. We've got some invoices, and it's been with the long-term ownership of an Alfa collector. It's got an MOT, even though it doesn't need one, through to January 2026, and also a spare set of keys. I love that. I love that when people MOT cars that don't need them. Gives us and you a huge amount of confidence. And must stress again, a no reserve car. You could get a bargain there. I doubt you will. I think that's probably going to go for a very sensible and fair amount of money from the vendor's perspective, because it's such a nice car. It's just like better than 99.9% of the Alfa Studs I've ever seen, and a lot to suggest that that mileage is correct. So you set the price, but I think the price will be a few thousand on that. Gorgeous, gorgeous S2, again, 2 S2s. Hard car to find, but here's another beautiful one in the best colour. Any Audi, for me, if you do it with the Oxblood leather silver coachwork, whether it's TT, S2, RS6, they always look expensive and they always look like show cars. This is gorgeous, this one. 180,000 miles, 13 to 15,000. I mean, the car does not look like the mileage. The car looks like about 10,000 miles. It's been painted, it's been painted very well. And I would wager very expensively, looking at the beautiful finish. It's got a very coarse metallic flake in it, but then beautifully lacquered over the top, so you're getting the depth of shine and you're really seeing the metallic pop. But the finish is beautiful. It appears to be a factory standard car. It's been painted and obviously been incredibly well maintained, and it's been driven quite a long way to get here. Factory book pack, 19 stamps in the book, old discs and MOTs, which is nice. It was actually sold by John Fox in Nottingham, which is my local dealer. There you go. It's a car that's known to the owners club, and looking around everywhere you look, I would just get the bolster recovered, or recoloured should I say, on the driver's side, because the rest of the car is so beautiful, it's worth spending a little bit of money to get it right. Best colour, really nice condition, really great history, and say provenance with the club. And you will be spending into 5 figures to buy it, but these are just exceptionally good news. And if you look at all Audi S and RS models, they're always going to be good news, they really are. If you can get, I think, some of these 90s cars now, enjoy them, drive them, but also look after them, I think that's money in the bank. I really do. Wouldn't be Manor Park without a few price range Boxsters in lovely condition. Let's start with this one. First of all, look, we're looking through. It's got the right gear lever and the right amount of pedals. It's a manual, 2003 2.7 with a lovely spec. 61,000 miles, that's a big tick. The colour's a huge tick. Part electric sport seats, it's just had a clutch 3,500 miles ago. It's got the PSM on it, the stability management, and full leather with leather dash and leather door panel, so the extra leather on there as well. Headlight washers, it's got the 17-inch 986 2-boxer alloys, it's got the CD stacker in there as well. What else has it got? Wind deflector, tint top screen, storage box, Xenons on it, onboard computer, Becker radio. Yeah, really nicely optioned car this. I mean, when you get to this point and they're not worth massive amounts of money, like this is a 5 to 6 grand car, you kind of almost, you're much more concerned with condition, mileage and history, but if you can get a specky one as well, it's a bit of a bonus, and this is a really nice spec car. And also it's beautiful condition, I have to say. Very, very nice. Doesn't need much of that, you know. And then for the money, it needs nothing. Yeah, that's not to be confused with your normal budget Boxer, that one. That is a particularly nice car. But I think that if you are into pride of ownership and you're into really keeping your cars in a nice way, I think you'd be quite content with that. Even got little nut covers on to cover the rusty nuts. I like that a lot. Right, moving on to another beautiful Porsche. One of the cars I've always wanted to own, this 993 Targa. Just exceptional things, and it's the last of the air-cooled cars before the 996 comes. This is the swan song of the air-cooled engine, and for many people, the purists, the last of the true 911s. Isn't it beautiful? It's a 1996 911 993 Targa, amazing service history. You are going to have to dig deep and find somewhere between 43 and 47,000 pounds to own this one. It's done 106,000 miles, and it is the Auto Tiptronic. 285 horsepower engine. Of course, what makes this car particularly lovely and collectible is this, the fact the whole roof comes away, the Targa roof slides in, and as you can see, this one works beautifully, and I can see the condition of the runners in there, that's been maintained and greased. It looks like new in there, with all the maintenance grease on it. Perfect. And the paintwork on this car is really very nice indeed. Now, I don't know what your thoughts are on Auto 911s. I really don't mind them, particularly because you can dab up and down on the steering wheel, don't forget. But actually, if you think about the kind of driving you do in this car, you're probably, in a beautiful old Targa, not going to absolutely rag it and go on track and have it running at 150 miles an hour. It's not really what this car's all about. It's much more about cruising and enjoying, and for that reason I would wager you're paying a lot less for the fact it's an auto, a lot less, and actually I think it suits the nature of the car. £4,000 was spent in 2019, it's beautifully presented. So what's it had? It's had a lot of services done, 18 stamps in the book, 2 additional service invoices. The most recent was February of this year with oil filter spark plugs. And Porsche Centre Bolton have done things like aircon pump, replacing all the alternator belts and the front struts. So it's had, you know, thousands spent quite recently with a lot of very accomplished people. Not a car that's been run on a shoestring, that one. I do think that is one, if you're a Porsche collector, that is a collectible level car. It's very, very nice on the paint. I say either you can live with the auto or you can't. I personally think, because of what it is, funny enough, I've just bought Mrs. C a Tiptronic 997 actually, because again, it was just really price rangy. The auto box made it very affordable. And actually, for the kind of driving that she does, she adores it. And now, for a different position. Are you ready? Now, holidays are coming. Soon about to be a bank holiday this weekend. Why not treat yourself to a lovely holiday villa on wheels in the form of this lovely Type 25 Auto Sleeper Trident. Now, I've actually got a Westphalia T25, so this shape, but mine's a pop roof. Now, you could argue that the pop roofs look more aesthetically pleasing when they're down, but actually you could also argue that when you get to the campsite, this is actually much nicer to live with, because if you get inside as a tall person, like I am, so I can stand in here, look, and literally, I've got room above my head, and I'm 6'4", so if you're taller than me, you can still fit in. And isn't it lovely in here, look? You've got your little dining table, you've got your fridge, you've got your spinny seats, you've got your lockers up there. That will, I would imagine, be a bed at the top. You've got a little bed at the back here. We've had so many lovely holidays in our camper, and what's surprising, as long as your kids are kind of under the age of about 10, you can definitely fit 2 kids in here. We have in ours. And they're just phenomenal, and just the fact that these are such good, reliable vehicles underneath, and again, there's loads of parts available for these. Plus you can go to any of the Volkswagen shows, and everybody finds them cute when you get to campsites. The amount of conversations we had just because we're in a cute old Volkswagen camper. And yeah, aesthetically not quite as pretty as the pop-tops, but you won't care when you're inside it, and it's lovely and comfortable. So I find that very lovely indeed. That's £9,000 to £11,000, 114,000 miles. Lots of money spent, fresh MOT, the upholstery is lovely, look. And these auto-sleeper conversions, they were beautifully done. If you look at the quality of all the cabinetry, the finishing, the edging. The Westphalia is obviously the more popular one in terms of everybody knows it. But these were done to an incredibly high standard, and the way that the roof fits is very, very good indeed. So you can get 4 or 5 of you in there. You've even got, look, your luggage rack on the top, so put your extra bits and pieces in. That I think represents excellent value for money. Now, as you may know, I'm going through my XJS period at the moment. I do think they're rather lovely. The pinnacle of the XJS, to me anyway, apart from the Lister obviously, which is crazy money, XJRS, I just think they've got everything. You've got your TWR body kit, you've got your Speedline bottle top wheels, you've got the V12 engine. They are becoming a rare car. They're also becoming a car that's quite hard to get in a really nice condition, and this one, I would say, is in a very nice condition. It's also in a very nice colour. 67,000 miles, limited number car. Now they did 2 of these, they did a 5.3 and they did a 6 litre. This is the 5.3. TWR did all the spec and uplift, and this one's got a selection of photos it comes with that's had a rebuild or restoration, some invoices and receipts, and a large collection of old MOTs. Now I think, you never know, but I do think Jaguar is about to go through an interesting period, and I think the really desirable sporty stuff, particularly nice mileage in nice colours, I think will do well. I think a nice XJRS tucked away wouldn't be a bad thing. And it's had paintwork, but it really is decent paintwork, I have to say. And I like these earlier 5.3s on the little 15-inch wheels. I think that's a very pleasant thing. I would like to own that. I say money-wise, 10 to 12. I think we'll look back on that in a few years' time and realise that was cracking value. Now look at this, very early. 67, Rolls-Royce Shadow, very nice. So Shadow 1, the purer shape for the purist with a lovely early dash in it as well. 76,000 miles showing in remarkable condition and a lovely colourway. So silver over blue, great chrome work, great interior, and just starting to go up in value these. And I do think the Shadow 1s, the earlier car with the simpler bumpers, the simpler lights, the nicer dash, the nicer interior, are starting to really show a touch of class. Let me open that up for you. So this particular example underwent a complete and comprehensive restoration in 2018, which was a full respray, which is the correct Georgian silver over black. It's been in Spain and in Jersey, which is probably why it's so lovely. It's had replaced woodwork, full carpet set. It's had over £16,000 spent on it, this car. Isn't it beautiful? Absolutely stunning. Yeah, look at the work that's been done, the quality of that leather, the quality of that wood. The new carpets in 2018, just stunning with the picnic tables. Everything about this. Again, do not confuse this with an inexpensive example. I bought a £6,000 Bentley T1, which is a little bit rarer, which is effectively the same car as this, but my word, mine is nothing like as nice as this. I would wager that's probably better to buy a £12,000 one needing nothing than a £6,000 one needing a lot, which would probably cost about another £20,000 to put right. Do go through that. I could do a whole video on how nice that is and how much money has been spent on it. There are pages and pages and pages. There is, of course, a book pack video. If you are interested, please ask us to go through or come in and have a look. There's a ton to talk about on that. This is nice, this roller. I really like these early trims. It's got a great number plate as well on this. Does that number plate stay with it? It looks like Terry Tibbs, doesn't it? Do you want Terry Tibbs style Rolls Royce with the Terry Tibbs number plate? 1989 Rolls Royce Silver Spirit 2. Now we're talking about price range rollers and Bentleys. This very much falls into that camp. £8,000 to £9,000 would buy you this. Really nice colour. original book pack, an advisory-free MOT. There are only 4 stamps in the book, but certainly other things to indicate it's had a little bit more than that spent on it. The Cherished registration does stay with it. There you go. The Terry Tibbs registration. I love that. Interior is lovely. That lasted very well, actually, inside there. Chromework is good. It's got Avons on it. It's got the correct tyres all around. And that's a level old thing, it really is. I think you could definitely spend a little bit of time on the paint. It's just got wash damage. I mean, when you get a car that's been washed and looked after regularly, you just get this very, very light surface scoring from where the sponge and the leather go over it. And a really good detailer can correct that back, and it just makes the car absolutely pop. And you never have to spend huge amounts. I'm talking 300-400 quid would transform that car. I think you could spend 400 quid to put £1,000 on the car. An £8,000 to £9,000, lovely old money spec and feel, that one. Moving on to this, car very dear to my heart, facelift Arnage Mulliner T this. Don't they look good? I think, again, these are just extraordinary value. Do have a look at the Mulliner. What was interesting, this was the Bentley that many consider, including people I know who work at Bentley, to be the last proper Bentley. So this is the last crew-built Bentley, the last 675 pushrod, antiquated engine. So in many ways it's a compromised car, but in so many ways it's what made Bentley great in the first instance. This one is special because it's done 40,000 miles, 24 to 26,000 pounds, a super service history, and highly specified and tastefully options. So the Mulliner cars have a lot of lovely bits on, including the diamond turned leather. This one's got a walnut dash actually. Some of them had turned dashes. Mine does. You get factory split rims as well. You get the vented wings, which looks really, really cool. But also they are a phenomenally quick car if you want to. I think it is, there's a video of Clarkson doing crazy donuts in one of these. They are a genuinely fast car. They were one of the fastest saloon cars available for sale. And this has the facelift front on this one as well. Our vendor's been the custodian since 2019. We've got the original service book, which shows the PDI, undertaken by Bentley Press and Special Car Support. So I wonder, was this a press car? Interesting. At the last service, it's had 37,000 miles, had new lower damper bushes, a set of plugs, and D-bushes. So again, maintained correctly and properly, which is very important on an old Arnage. And it just looks beautiful. Now this one, if you prefer a darker colour, Arnage T, this one. Again, it's got the diamond stitch leather in as well. It is absolutely stunning. I should get mine out. Mine's in the garage at the moment, and I do need to get it out and have a little go with it, because you just forget what amazing presence these things have. This one's done 95,000 miles, and for that reason, it's going to be a little bit less expensive. It's also got the factory roof, and as so many of them do, if you look, they just start to bubble on the edge of the roof. So you want to get that sorted. A little bit of delamination on some of the trims. There's a couple of tiny cosmetic jobs to do, but you can enjoy it. In the meantime, you can drive it around and have fun with it. Nice history, presents and drives beautifully, this car. It was applied new by Bentley in Edinburgh, and it's completely factory standard. It really is. So like I say, a few cosmetic jobs to do, but it just goes to show, doesn't it, just with that having slightly higher mileage, with a few bits and pieces. Oh, the paint is gorgeous. I don't know if you can see how nice the paint has been kept on this car. That's been maintained very, very well. Not a lot to make that a truly lovely car. It really isn't. So again, that represents excellent value for money. Or would you like a genuine 2009 Range Rover TD Overfinch? Obviously the renowned tuner, well known to everybody for doing wonderful things with Range Rovers of all ages, has had a tickle, and this is not just a set of badges, which some people do put on. This is an Overfinch, this one. But that notwithstanding, because of what it is, the age, the mileage, I think this represents phenomenal value. You could buy this car for not a huge amount of money. So we've estimated this at £5,000 to £6,000. It's done 104,000 miles, and it is a genuine Overfinch. You've got these enormous wheels, a little bit of light curbing, as you might imagine, because that's a big old wheel. And it was driven over 150 miles to get here. There's a little bit of corrosion here and there, things to do. And our vendor says they're getting 30 mpg out of that, which is pretty decent, isn't it? And we have checked with Overfinch, they have confirmed this is a genuine Overfinch. We've got a copy of that email on file, because you have to be so careful with these. So many people just stick the badges on and say that it is. This is the real deal, and I struggle to think for £6,000 how you could drive anything more visually impressive or with more road presence than that. Also, it wouldn't take a lot to make this a really nice car. Just silly things like just detailing the wiper arms, paint correction, a little bit of painting in on the leather on the drivers there, get those alloys refurbed. Again, you know, spend £1,000 and it would look like a 20 grand vehicle. I think that's money well spent. Or just smoke around, leaving it a little bit rough around the edges and enjoy it. Other end of the Land Rover scale, a little bit earlier, 1953. Look at that, Series 1. Land Rover 80, unmodified, matching numbers example. With a lucky horseshoe. The horseshoe looks like it was well worn before it got put on there. Isn't that in fantastic condition with lots of polished alley? It's lovely that. It's had some new seats inside though. You've got the best of all worlds, I would imagine. Let's have a look. It requires a full restoration, which I don't think would take long because it looks really level, I have to say. Imported into the UK in 2016, it's Nova registered, supplied with the side screens and a new steering wheel. It's got a good bulkhead, good floor, good rear cross member, undrilled front wings, which is always nice to see, and the correct date stamp brass header tank circ radiator. So there is work to do, but actually cosmetically there's nothing, is there? So cosmetically she's ready, look. That's the great thing about Land Rover, you get the odd little dent or mark, it all adds to the charm and the appeal. So yes, give yourself some garage time, but even look at this hood, look. That's recent and expensive, looking at it. So that could be a bit of a bargain for somebody. What have we estimated that at? We've estimated that, my friends, at just 20 to 22. Or, Defenders have been in the news recently. Land Rover have brought out another fantastic convertible version through Land Rover Classic. You could get this, probably the most practical and usable of all the configurations, the pickup crew cab body. So you can take the family and the dog and the mountain bikes. £20,000 to £22,000 would buy you this. It's a 110 TD, so you've got your turbo diesel, so it's pretty decent on gas. 3 former keepers, and it's a rare late 2016 model, one of the last ones built. And it's got a remanufactured engine at 83,000 miles, and that engine's still under warranty. It's got new General Grabber tyres, it's got Jaguar Land Rover registration plates, it's got new turbo and injectors, and that is ready for a lifetime of fun, isn't it? This could be so many things. If you're a kind of an outdoor pursuits kind of person, like I said, you could put your camping gear and your bike in the back. The kids would think this is awesome if this was a school run bus. Well, of course, it would tow anything. Being a TD and being a 110, it'd make a fantastic tow vehicle. That's very nice. Love the colour as well. This is back in at a very, very sensible reserve this time. And I cannot believe how much nice bay window campers can be had for now. Just goes to show that the Volkswagen market is in a really great value for money place. Early bays, you get the much nicer bumpers, the lower indicators. Left-hand drive, we speak about that a lot. Don't worry about left-hand drive cars, just get one that's really nice condition. Look at the interior on this, look. This is utterly fabulous. Look how nice this has been done. So it's got all the right bits in. It's got the camping table, it's got the fridge, it's got the cupboards. So basically, from what I can see, that's a Westphalia interior, but just without the pop top, which also just looks a bit nicer as well. It's got electric power steering, there you go. So if you were worried that's there, look, you can see that's that there. If you're worried about manhandling a lowered Volkswagen, this one you're going to find very, very easy. It's been fully undersealed. And do have a look at the history file that comes with this. It's got a fresh MOT, it's got awning, it's got disc brakes, it's got those Porsche Fouche, it's got Garmin sat nav, it's just got everything. But the thing is, someone has obviously spent a huge amount of money on what is a very straight van. If you look down the sides at how level the sides of this van are. And you could buy that for somewhere between 19 and 21,000, despite all of the money that's been spent on it. Lovely, isn't it? And of course the Volkswagen shows, you've even got your stickers in, look, all the stickers have been done for you. There you go. I think this has been enjoyed and had a life at the shows. It's got a fantastic table with all sorts of brilliant period correct stickers on. It's been beautifully done. 10 out of 10 for that. This is back in again, sensible reserve on this, left-hand drive, Land Cruiser, BJ42, 111,000 miles on this. The paint is really lovely. Manual, it's a French car, it's now been UK registered. So you don't have to worry about that. She's ready to go for the UK. Drives and presents beautifully with a ton of paperwork. So all the French import documents, all the UK paperwork, lots of photos. It's got 24 volt system, some spares, and it's just ready to go. And you just don't see them very often. I think a lot of old off-roaders look very good and have a real cachet and appeal, but there's something about the Toyota Land Cruiser, it's just so legendary. And whoever's done this has obviously done it to a very high standard, and a lot of money has been spent. Floor's good, paint's good, condition's good. What are you going to spend on that? £14,000 to £16,000 would get you into that. And now it's time to pause and relocate to the. Now, as a little treat, as well as my legs, we need to give you a selection of convertibles at all sorts of price points and performance levels to make sure that you've got the right wheels for this beautiful weather that we're having. And a frog-eyed Sprite, I think it doesn't matter who you are, what kind of cars you're into. If you don't like a frog-eyed Sprite, you don't want to just come around it and put your arms around it and give it a hug, then we can't be friends. They're just unbearably cute, aren't they? 12 to 14,000 will get you into this rather lovely one. 1960, in the current ownership since 2016, and it's just lovely condition. It's great colourway, old English white with the red leather as well. It had a comprehensive retrim and restoration in 2014, and since then it's only done 1,000 miles. So look at that, isn't it beautiful inside? They're not fast, but they do give you a wonderful sensation even of speed. History file dating back all the way to 1981, and it was actually purchased for 21,000 in 2016. So somebody spent a lot of money buying this, but we've estimated this today at only 12 to 14. So it just goes to show what I'm saying about 50s and 60s cars. If you want to buy a 50s or 60s car, it is very much a buyer's market at the moment. All of our vendors are being incredibly sensible with their estimates and reserves. And cars like this, which not very long ago were in the 20s, are now in the teens. And it's your chance as the next owner to grab a bit of a bargain. Yeah, when the market's coming down, what we call a bear market, which is slowly descending, although if you're investing, if you jump on, obviously the car will be worth less. View it that you're buying a car for less than you could buy it for 12 months ago. That's the way to look at it. Money saved is the same as money earned, isn't it? Now, this car needs no introduction to any of you. Now, read any magazine of peddlers, like Evo magazine, Top Gear magazine, always within the top 10 of any best handling car that anyone ever does. The Caterham is always in there. For one simple reason, is they are still, despite the fact it's quite an antiquated design, they are still the handling benchmark for any car at any price point. Now, talking of which, this is a 1.8 VVC 2000 car, so a 25-year-old car that you'd never know because they don't look any different today. 14 to 16,000 pound will buy you the car. It's just lovely, isn't it? It's in prisoner colours, it's a British Racing Green with the Norfolk mustard stripe down the middle. Just lovely, unmolested, unmessed about with, factory standard car with a Rover engine with just 150 brake, but that's all you need. A Caterham does not need much power to be enormous amounts of fun. In fact, if you drive the ones with the huge amounts of power, in some ways they're less fun because you're fighting the car all the time. With this, with the Rover engine, the VVC, you can almost drive it flat out, and of course because it's such a benign handling car, it's hilarious amounts of fun. The history of this car is pretty decent. We've got some builds, we've got some MOTs, we've got some love being lavished on the car over many, many years. I love the colour, I love the condition, I love the price, and you could park that next to a modern one, it would look almost the same, and it would be about a quarter of the price. The other thing about Caterhams is they're ever so easy to sell. Whenever you come to get rid of a Caterham, because it's the benchmark car, it's the one that everybody always wants to buy, because it's the one that they understand. If the market understands a car, confidence is good. Now, a car that was misunderstood at the time that's fast becoming quite collectible, and I think is utterly brilliant, is this, the Fiat Barchetta. Now, bizarrely, for a car that was actually introduced as a UK model, which this one was, they were only available in left-hand drive. So you'd go into your Fiat dealer, you'd buy one of these cars, they were all left-hand drive, even the UK supplied cars. Now, this one could be a bit of a bargain, I think. 1997, no reserve. If you look, the entire car, if you look at it and feel it, the entire car is micro blistered. I would wager this has had a cover on at some point, and unfortunately, it has micro blistered the entire car. So please bear that in mind when you're bidding. It's done 145,000 miles, but went through the last MOT with not even a blink from the tester. 12 months MOT with not a single advisory. So paint aside and higher mileage aside, it's in remarkable condition. The leather is beautiful. The interior is very, very nice. The hood's meant to be quite decent as well. I think these represent a bit of a thinking person's alternative to an MX-5. You could argue that dynamically an MX-5 is a better car, but because they're so prevalent, I think the Barchetta represents something of an interesting choice, a more left field choice, because hardly anyone's got one. And also, you know me, I love left-hand drive cars. I might even have a cheeky bid up myself on Saturday. But say, please do bear in mind, the entire car would, if you want it to be perfect, you have to paint the whole thing because every panel has blistered. And that, I think, is down to, as I say, being incorrectly covered. We've got bills for invoices for parts and work and something to do with Top Gear magazine. Wait a minute. Let's have a look. Oh, it's been featured in the Top Gear magazine feature in November 2017, where it was pitted against the latest 124 Spider. There you go. So Top Gear magazine featured Barchetta in by far the best colour. I like that very much. The paint doesn't bother me. I'd get my detailer to mop it. You make it a little bit better. I mean, micro blistering is what it is. You're going to have to go through it and do it properly. But in the meantime, you can just polish it up a bit. Make it look a bit shiny. Shiny blisters look better than matte blisters, don't they? SLs, we love them. We always sell them. This colour combination is particularly attractive. Silver with this tan leather, two-seater configuration. Little dent on the wing I've just noticed there as I've walked past. 14 to 16,000 pounds for this, and the paint is lovely. 80,000 miles, automatic as they nearly all are. Fresh MOT, factory hardtop of course, which is what you want to make sure you've got, and a ton of history. First registered in 75, this one. And the HPI tells us it's only had 5 owners. Brown interior, I think, is just a massive tick. Why am I getting so old? Like in things like gold cars and brown interiors. What's happening here? But the reason you want this one, other than everything I've just said, is the 450 SL. We've got SLs of every engine size and displacement. If you're going to get one, get a 450 or 500. They are monsters. Very, very lovely soundtrack to drive behind, and so torquey, you waft along in this car. Yeah, just a tiny bit to do there. There's a little bit of paintwork, bit of orange peel and the dent. So I'll just get that wing done again, and she'll be lovely. Now, other price range SLs. This shape of SL blows my mind how much car you can get for such crazy amounts of money. This is a 2004 SL350, this one. And just look at it. I just remember, it wasn't that long ago, well, obviously 20 years ago, going into the showroom and looking at that car as a new car, thinking how fabulous they looked. And here we are, 20 years later, and you can buy them. Are you sitting down? For £5,000 or £6,000 for a 95,000 mile car with 10 stamps in the book and an advisory free MOT. Got 17-inch alloys, which again I like. I'm going for the smaller wheels now in my old age because they look nice, they ride better, the tyres are cheaper. There's a few little marks on it, there's a few chips and a few tiny marks, which is about what you'd expect. But that's a £70,000 car when it was new in 2004. And you could buy that, as I say, 5, 6 and a bit. You could be driving that home with the roof down. It's even got the deflector. So if you've had your hair done nicely, it won't ruffle your hair. Isn't that beautiful for the money? A lot of fun to be had. We do like these price range convertibles. We're all about bringing stuff to the auction that looks nice, has got room for you to improve. Again, you've got a little bit of flatting on the boot. There's a dent there. You can just get that taken out. So all of these cars, you can add value to them. And I love projects like that are just lovely, presentable, usable cars. If you want to spend a Sunday paint correcting and polishing that, get your dent man out to fix it. And I can just see a tiny bit of overspray on the back there. Let's have a little bit of paint on the back wing. Nothing that you couldn't sort in, say, a couple of Sunday afternoons. Another bargain Boxster. This one's Tiptronic. Very nice looking car with a very funky interior. Come and have a look at the interior. It's a bit, whoa, but I like it. 2002, this one. 3.2S, so the bigger engine, 4 former keepers, but only 51,000 miles. We checked the roof, that works beautifully. It's an S model, as I say, with 3.2. It was driven here, but what makes this one particularly funky is it's got the factory hardtop as well. So you can have that in any way you like. Now, why do we like this car? Well, obviously the colour's great. They've had the wheels refurbished. It's got a lovely specification. It's got the hardtop, which is very good to have. We've spoken before, haven't we, about automatic Porsches. If you're not going to thrash its guts out on track and you want to pose and cruise and enjoy sweeping country roads, actually, there's nothing wrong with it. You can flick it up and down the gears with the Tiptronic paddles on the steering wheel. This definitely would want painting if it was mine. There's a couple of dents in the boot. That I think has been painted at some point and probably to make it perfect would want painting again. But it's a no reserve car. You get to choose the price. You get to say exactly what that's worth. And I think you will have an awful lot of fun in the summer. And don't be put off by automatic Porsches. They actually represent, for most drivers, the drivers and writers of Evo magazine would say you want the manual. The real world users of average consumerville probably have just as much fun in an automatic. If you're not a racing driver by profession, you will have just as much fun in an automatic. Another beautiful SL. I particularly like these concave 5-spoke wheels. I think they look really nice on the car. 2004 SL350, this one. Just, we always have them in, we love them, they always sell well, they always look good. And everybody that buys them loves them. Because I struggle to think for a car that looks as modern or as good for that kind of money, that's relatively cheap to run. It's going to be on a classic insurance. It's not going to absolutely rinse you if you do a limited mileage. If you can keep it under 5,000 miles a year and you're above the age of 30, that really won't be an expensive car to insure. Those are the AMG double spoke alloys, driven here to the showroom, which is always nice to see. Obsidian black is the colour, and our vendor has been the custodian for 10 years. Now, we don't have a service book, but there is a letter from Mercedes confirming the first 5 services, all at dealers, and therefore invoices for 3 services after that. So we've got a bundle of invoices, the purchase invoice, the book pack, and spare keys. Now, what's that going to cost you? What's that going to cost you for 21-year-old? No reserve. You tell me. You choose. Isn't that fabulous? That could be a few thousand. That could be you driving around. You could come and pay for that on Monday morning, and by Monday afternoon, you'd be driving that around. This could be yours for a few £1,000s. I think this is why I love this job. This job is very exciting because it's almost a democratisation of cars that were once hideously expensive, and in some cases, as we've shown, house money, are now within the grasp of us normal enthusiasts for a few £1,000s that we can insure for a few £100s and find a good specialist, you know, keep on the road for maybe £1,000, 1,500 quid a year. I just find that very exciting. I really do. This is lovely. I do prefer this shape SL. This is my favourite. I have to be honest. This is the facelift, obviously the later car. My favourite of all the SLs is the original version of this, with the sharper bumpers. But this is very, very pretty. This is a 320, which probably represents the perfect sweet spot between power, usability, fuel economy, service cost. The 320 is a really nice engine. It's just quick enough, but it's not going to quite kick your financial head in the same way that the 500 does, or the 600, if you're lucky enough to have one of those. Factory hardtop, which you can see, 118,000 miles, and a very nice history. 11 stamps in the book, loads of invoices and receipts, only 3 previous owners, and just a really lovely, unmessed about with car. Think about like these SLs, the difference between, it's a bit like the Bentleys really, the difference between a really good one, like this, and like an average one that needs a bit of work is probably only a few thousand, and it's always the difference is less than the work would be on the lesser car to bring up to the same standard. So I always say with any of these kind of cars, always stretch to the best one you can afford because it's always cheaper in the long run, unless you're looking to do a project. You know, if you've got a YouTube channel, you want to do some great jobs, buy the cheaper one, it's more fun. But if you're looking just to have the best car you can for the money you've got to spend, always stretch to the most perfect example you can find. Talking of which, have you ever seen one of these? Pretty much guarantee you haven't, because as far as we can tell, it's the only right-hand drive version ever made. Have a look at this. You might have seen them in films. It's so pretty. 1952 Fiat 1900A. And we believe, and asking people that know a lot more than I do, they believe it's the only right-hand drive one ever built. 44,000 miles. Very, very unusual motor car, this. Drives very well with a massive information file. Now, here's the story. Would you like this? An executive from the gas board in Norwich got a Fiat 1900 as a company car. He loved it so much, when he came back to the UK, he ordered one, but he needed it to be right-hand drive. And in 1952, the factory agreed to make one for him. Can you imagine that? Like with the Barchetta, going, I would like to buy a Barchetta, but I'll only buy it if you do it in right-hand drive. And the factory went, all right, yeah, we'll do that for you, mate, no problem. We haven't done it for anyone else, but we'll do it for you. And they did. Simple as that. I guess probably in those days it was a little bit easier to convert this car to right-hand drive. And for that reason, this has been in the country from new. It's been locked away for 40 years and obviously needed a full and extensive recommissioning, all of which it's had. And that's been done by Bridge Classic Cars. Now, we love those guys. They are just wonderful people doing wonderful work. Do make sure you follow them and their incredible channels. But if it's been through their hands, I know it's good. I know it's good. It's won many trophies and awards. So do dig into the history of that. It's exceptionally interesting, and I guarantee you'll turn up at a show. No one else will have another one. And now, so I can get the value out of my legs for you, let's go outside. So now we've moved outside and the sun is shining, the birds are singing, I've got my shorts long, I've got the perfect summer day, and for that I need the perfect summer sports car, and it might be this. Now, a lot of you A little bit snooty about the rubber bumper MGBs. Obviously the post-74 cars have the impact bumpers, but for a lot of reasons they're a great car to buy because they're cheaper. They're probably more usable every day because if you want to park in town and you get a bit of a biff on the bumper, it doesn't really matter. And of course, they are the ultimate development. The earlier cars are prettier, the later cars you could argue have more development in them. They're also utter bargains. This is a UK right-hand drive example with overdrive. Roof's really nice, got a lovely set of row styles on it, it's got a lovely history file with it. But it's a no reserve car. And the thing you've got to look for in an MGB is door shuts, which are really okay on that because normally when they've had panels in, the roof is very nice. The interior is decent. Is it immaculate? Is it show-worthy? No, but what it is very, very tidy and presentable. A little bit of bubbling and blistering on the tops of the wings there. So it's never going to win a concours, but would you really care? Just put the roof down. It's a gorgeous day. You could buy that for a few £1,000s. And I've had a few friends, a very good friend of mine, Darren Langeveld, who is a Porsche owner, track day magnate, race instructor, has just bought an MGB because I think even real top-level car enthusiasts are realising for the money, nothing touches them. I did a Car and Classic video on why the MGB is such a great car. Watch it and then come and have a cheeky bid on that. I don't think that's going to be a huge amount of money at all. Now this, we always talk about these. This of course is a 1991 190e 2 litre. I do think they are the only classic car that you'll ever need. The beautiful thing about this is you could sell whatever modern day car you've got, whatever that is, whatever lease that you're paying per month, and just smoke around in this, and it will last you, me, all of us, our grandchildren, long after we've all gone. This car will still be here because it's done 49,000 miles. Look at it, Japanese import. Oh, I would like to own this very, very much. So if you don't know, Japanese imports don't suffer from the salt problems that we have here in the UK. Japanese do not use salt on their roads. They're a much cleverer nation than we are. And for that reason, older cars like this underneath look like 6-week-old cars from the UK. So it's a wonderful spec, it's a very low mileage. There's a couple of tiny bits to do. You can see the door cars just separating away, although the interior is beautiful. I don't think that would take a huge amount of time and money to make that an extraordinarily nice car. And for £6,000 to £7,000, what a way to travel. Genuinely mean it. If you are thinking, can I come out of a modern car? I've made a decision 2.5 years ago, chuck my lease car in, and I haven't really driven a car made after the year 2000 for the last 2.5 years. And it's entirely possible to do it. I have done it. I did it as an experiment. I promised you I would. I've done it. It's worked beautifully. I've saved a fortune, but I actually haven't saved anything because all the money I've saved I've put into restoring old cars. But I've got to smoke round in old cars. And isn't that better? Talking of which, and I wouldn't have this as a daily, but I would have this in the Cowland collection. I would love this. Mazda RX-7, just a rare old bus anyway. You don't get to see them very often. This is a car that we've had down in sunny Southampton. So we've brought it up to the north. Let's see if we can sell it here. I think you've got to find the right audience for this, and I do wonder if this could be a car that sells from Runcorn, this one. Beautiful, 12 to 14,000 estimate on this. Really nice condition, interior is almost perfect. It's had a few repairs over the past. It looks like there's been a little bit of a dent or some paintwork done there. There's a few bits to do, there's a few tiny lacquer imperfections. She's not perfect, but what she is very, very tidy, and as far as I can see, exceptionally rust-free. They're a hard car to find these, particularly in standard condition. As I say, just a little bit of de-lacquering here and there. You can see where the bumper's been painted. So I'm going to give it like a 7.5, 8 on the paint, but interior is probably like a 9. It looks really nice. I would have a proper look at that. If you've been looking at them and you've probably seen a lot of rubbish, a lot of fillered up ones, and a lot that need work or have rust. That is a very sound car, that, and I like it very much indeed. Now going back to lovely cars for this weather, what could be better than this? Now I bought from here, for my eldest daughter Amber, an NC, a Mark III MX-5 folding hardtop, same as this. This is a beautiful example. This is an almost show quality car, this one. And it's probably one of the best cars I've ever bought for anyone in my life. If you've never driven one of these, this is the 2-litre Sport Tech. And it probably answers the question of what is the only sports car I will ever need. It's this. Pretty reasonable boot. It's got the folding hardtop, which is fiberglass, so it's very light. But it's a bit more secure than the roof, and I think they look a bit prettier too. So that all folds down, that's all electric. So you've got enough boot for 2 all right sized suitcases. We drove Amber's down to Devon a few weeks ago. She drove, I was in the passenger seat. What a car. And of course, great on the motorway. Wonderful on track, brilliant on the country road. There's nothing this car won't do, but this one only has 27,000 miles. Beautiful colour, this one as well. 8 stamps in the book, matching Falcon tyres and 2 sets of keys. It's a lot prettier than the one we bought. The one we bought was cheap. This one is going to be 8.5 to 9.5 because it's beautiful. But honestly, having spent an enormous amount of time with my daughter's version of this, what a car. Absolutely fantastic car. And also, if you're tall, if you're watching this thinking, well, I will never fit in a Mazda MX-5, the NC by far is the biggest of all of the MX-5s. It's much bigger than the 1 and 2. And funnily enough, when they've brought the 4 out, they've gone smaller again because Mazda are brilliant at keeping the weight down, but they've done that by making everything smaller. This is by far the biggest, and I think, it's a very personal thing, isn't it, the most handsome of all the MX-5s. So get that bought because it's wicked. Now this is very, very nice. I like this a lot. I do love Mark IV and Mark V Cortinas. I think they're a fantastic shape. My granddad had one, he worked for Ford. I spent a lot of time in Romford, and I spent a lot of time in the back of a Cortina, and I love them. This is very groovy. I've got a lot of time for this. So it's a South African import car, which was an automatic originally, and then somebody has just done all the best stuff. So RS7 spokes, chin spoiler, you've got an Essex V6, you've got this rather wonderful Cobra interior. The car's done 53,000 miles, but they have converted it from an automatic to a manual. They put the clear rear lenses on. It's just so of its time, of the fast forward era in this country, and how it's been done is absolutely brilliant. I want to own this very much indeed. It's 8.5 to 9.5 grand. And I wouldn't change a thing on this. Literally everything they've done, from the wheel choice, to the interior, to the engine, the stance, spoilers, utterly wonderful, particularly because it's in a South African shell as well. I don't know what it would cost you to do that. I mean, first of all, try and find a rust-free Cortina shell. That's going to cost you 4 or 5 grand. Then get all the bits. I bet it would cost you 25 grand to build that. You could buy it for less than half. I think that's impeccable. And may I congratulate the vendor on putting that together. Love that very much. And I imagine that the magazine that comes with that will come with it. Now, the team have been working hard to get you lots of price-rangey convertibles so you can look good, enjoy the sunshine. And isn't this magnificent? Ian Cowland designed Jaguar XK. I know I'm getting old because in the old days I would want the biggest wheel possible, the smallest tyre possible. Now I'm getting well into my 50s. I actually like a smaller wheel. I think the aesthetic balance is better. You get a higher tyre wall on it so it rides better. And this is lovely, this one. This is 10 to 12,000 pounds, if you can find that, 47,000 miles with 13 stamps and 2 owners and an advisory-free MOT. I think for that amount of money, if you want to feel very special about yourself and drive around, you could put a personal plate on and hide the age, but I think the joy is in the age. I think the fact that, this is a 2006 car and it still looks this fresh. I mean, Ian Callum is a genius, but that is a timeless design, isn't it? Talk about getting it right. The balance, the proportion, everything about that car, from whichever angle you look at, looks fabulous. Also, with the roof up, they look really good, and in the roof down, they look incredible. So as I say, really nice colour combination, really lovely mileage, absolutely stunning and faultless history, and it flew through the last MOT. What is not to love about that? What is not to love about that? Moving on, we've got more Jaguars, many, many Jaguars in a beautiful blue colour. If you want a light blue or light blue metallic Jaguar, this is the cell for you. Now, if you like your Jaguars a little bit older, or with a Daimler badge on the front, so it looks like a Jag, it's not. The fluted grille is the giveaway. And what's nice about these, I've never understood this, the Daimler always goes for less than the equivalent Jaguar, despite the fact to many people, with the sewing machine-like V8, they're a nicer car. Now this one's been with the current owner since 2014, it's a multiple show winner, so do have a look, drink it in. You can just see there's a few bits just starting to go. So imagine those shows that it's won were a little while ago, because you can just see just the start of a little bit of rust bubbling through on the doors. Nothing that spoils it. You can just see there's a little bit of a crack there in the paint. You're going to need, if you want it to win shows again, you are going to need to do a little bit on it, or just enjoy it for what it is. It's got the lovely chrome wires, it's got a wonderful history file that goes back to the 90s, and 2 sets of keys. I like these very much. The interior, which sadly I can't open for you, is pretty immaculate, and it's got a Nardi wheel with the wooden dash. It's got a real charm to that, I have to say. If you haven't driven or heard the V8 engine, it's a small V8 on these, but it makes a most beautiful sound. It sounds very, very resolved, very smooth, very balanced. A fantastic car, will not be a huge amount of money. Reserve on that, look, £8,000 to £9,000. As I say, spend a couple of grand on it to make it perfect, and I think it would be worth it because the car's so nice and the colour's so lovely. But the colour I love more than ever, so that's nice and metallic, but I think this in the flat blue is even prettier. So this is a 1960 Jaguar 240, so the little engine, the 2.4, getting towards the run out of the car. UK delivered right-hand drive car. It's had a really nice restoration and it's got its Jaguar Heritage Certificate. It's got the chrome wires, it's got a straight port cylinder head, carburetors, and it offers 133 horsepower, which actually for its time is quite a lot. Again, the interior is absolutely perfect. If Phil can squeeze through the window and have a look. Now, as far as I can see on this one, from this quick inspection, this doesn't have any rust bubbles or anything going through. This just is ready to go. So what are you going to spend on that? Somewhere between 15 and 17. And don't these Mark II, although this is a 240, not a Mark II, so don't write in, but don't these Mark II-esque shapes, so the Daimler, the 240, they've suddenly become, to me, incredible value for money. Whereas before, stuff like this was 30, 40 grand. All of a sudden, they're under 20 for really, really nice cars. And I think that's the time to buy. Will you make money on a 240 or a Mark II? Probably not at the moment. I think they'll probably hold the money if you look after them. I don't think they're a car that's in the ascendancy anymore, but let's stop worrying about what cars make. Let's stop worrying if cars are an investment. If they go up, that's lovely. If you buy one, you have fun with it and you have a good time. It's worth every single penny. And don't forget, whereas this car might have been 25, 30 grand a few years ago, it's now maybe 17. That's the advantage of a bear market. Moving on. Now this is something you could drive every single day, and I would recommend that you do. Another Cowland design. Isn't he a talented chap? I am going to say, I would say this door's had a little bit of paint. There's a tiniest mismatch from a certain angle between that door and that door, which you may not see on the camera. It's a very hard colour to flick in this because it's a pearl. Beautiful colour though. So it's had a tiny bit of paint, but it's been done very well. I am just being hypersensitive to panel difference, and also we've got the most harsh sunlight you've ever seen today, so I can see everything. It's forensic. This is lovely. 2010 Jaguar XF 3 litre V6 premium luxury. 12 main dealer service stamps on this. 12 main dealer stamps. Can you believe it? Why should we get excited about this? Well, lots of reasons. As I said, it's a Cowland design too. It's almost immaculate. Tiny little scratch there. Tiny little scratch. I'm being pedantic, guys. Second-hand car. I'm giving it the full dealer walk around. It's got an MOT history back to 2013. As I say, those 12 dealer stamps. It was last serviced in October at 69,000 miles, and it's only done 70 now. It's got Michelin Pilot Sports. Are you getting the gist yet? Somebody has basically loved this car to bits. They've serviced it at the main dealer. They've put Michelin tyres on it, and it has only done 70,000 miles, and it is serviced 1,000 miles ago. So if you're looking for a vehicle, again, they keep going back to this thing, ditch your lease, ditch the £400 a month, whatever it is you're paying. Buy something like this that you will own, that you can use every single day. And this one you could use every single day and throughout the winter as well. Win at life. I mean, what's that worth? A few £1,000s would buy you that car. I cannot think of a more luxurious way to get to work. And being a modern car, it's going to do everything that you want it to do, other than depreciate massively or cost you hundreds of pounds a month that you'll never see again. That would be my choice, particularly at no reserve. What a lovely thing. Now moving on, they should never do this to me because I love these to bits. Saab 96 is a car that's very dear to my heart. This is particularly nice because it's the pre-impact bumper one. So it's a V4 steel bumper car, which I think is one of the nicest. So I have a two-stroke of these, which is great, but the two-strokes are a little bit harder to live with because obviously you've got to mix your oil and your petrol. Every time you start up, you disappear in a cloud of smoke and environmentalists get upset. But this being the Ford V4 is probably much easier to live with. And also, I think they represent much better value for money. This is a 72, recently recommissioned. Love the colour, the Werther's original colour. Love the condition as well, actually, I have to say. It's showing 5,000 miles, which I would imagine is since restoration or work. As I say, it's the desirable stainless steel bumpers. Look at the interior, look. I don't know if you can see that through the glass. If you've never driven one of these, they are epic. So you've got column shift gearbox up there, which you very quickly get used to. But because of it's a front wheel drive car, it's got a completely flat floor. So the feeling of space you get in the front is really nice. And this is only estimated at £5,000 to £6,000. You could not get a restoration, anything like this nice, for that kind of money. That's a car that's cost probably 3 times that to put to this condition, and the interior is absolutely beautiful. I love the fact that there's no headrests on the seats. £5,000 to £6,000, I say, with an extensive recommission as well. I would like to own that very much indeed. And all the places where they go, which is around the indicators, it's good, wing bottoms, around the back of the vents, all impeccable. So if you've got £6,000 sitting in your bank account and you want my unwavering jealousy and envy, buy that, buy that. Too many cars I would like to own in this sale, particularly this one. I've got a thing for American cars anyway. I've got a thing for Chrysler stuff. I've got a thing for pickup trucks, and I adore the Dodge Viper. I'm lucky enough to have a Dodge Viper. So if you moulded all that into one vehicle, you'd end up with this, which is the Dodge Ram 2005 Dodge Ram SRT10. They just stuffed a Viper engine into a pickup truck. It's as American as that. There you go. Why make it more complicated? Take a huge pickup, and it is huge. The road presence of this thing is unmatched. There is nothing that sits on the road like this does. They put Viper style wheels on it basically, 76,000 miles, and they stuffed a V10 into it. Lots of fun for little money, full history, and you just don't see them. Will it get you invited to the next Green Priest dinner? Probably not. But can it pull your caravan or your motorhome or your house? Yes, it can. Very talky. If you're wondering what kind of MPG does it do, it's probably not the vehicle for you. I'd move you on to the next one for that. Probably not for you if you're wondering about things like gas mileage. It won't do many, but it'll make the best noise you've ever heard and make you the envy of your street. Now this is particularly pleasant, I have to say. Just drink it in for a moment. It's got the Mondials on, which I think is the best wheel ever on a Land Rover Range Rover. 2003 Land Rover Disco V8 ES, so full fat petrol V8. If you're looking for one to use, enjoy and tuck away, and I think we'll make some money. Now, I've been very lucky enough, I've been spending some time at Jaguar Land Rover Classic recently, and what blows my mind is how much money their restoration cars are fetching. If this was a restored car from Jaguar Classic, it would be well into six figures. You could buy this one for 13 to 15. I think in terms of presence and style, again, it's absolutely perfect. The colour's right, it's done 68,000 miles, it's auto. It's got some really nice tasteful modifications like the lights and grille guards and things. Stuff that I think really works with it. It's a 7-seater. We always look for the term practical classic. You know, what is a classic that you can use, enjoy, take the kids and dog out with, tow your caravan, go to shows with? That is the most beautifully spec thing ever. And again, you know, it's been obviously very well maintained and looked after. You could detail that, just things like bringing this plastic back to perfect condition and make that look very, very expensive indeed. Also, being a 4-litre petrol, this just screams old money, this does. It really does. If you're looking for something to turn up, you know, at the concourse, on the lawn, just park this around the corner, they'll just assume you're part of the establishment. And that's hard to do for £15,000 or £16,000. Well, if you weren't impressed with the last 190, you might want this one. I want this one. Again, 5 to 6.5, it's about what 90s are worth. 190s, if you've got a nice one, it's about £5,000 or £6,500 would buy you a good one. This one, 75,000 miles with 3 owners from new, original book pack, just completely standard car. And if you come around here, look, Phil, look, on trims. It's funny to think that you lust after a vehicle on wheel trims, but for whatever reason it is, that particular Mercedes wheel trim, I think, looks almost better than any alloy they put on in period. Paint's really nice, she's super straight, I don't see any rust jumping out at me. Tiny little fag burn on the seat from what I can see in there. But apart from that, she's beautiful. Tiny little crease there you go, look, which is quite hard to see on white. Just feel that there's a little kind of parking crease just there. And that's about it. Get those things sorted, a minter. Again, car drive every single day. If you are going to do that, let me know, because I did it, and the reason I did it was because I think 2 years ago I did say, you could drive a 90s car every day, and I thought, well, you can't say that and not try it, and I did, and you can, so you must. RS6. Play the She Sells Sanctuary. If you want life to feel like you're in an episode of Layer Cake, there you go. There's your car. 7 to 8 grand. I can't believe that these are that cheap. If you've never driven an RS6 before, they are hilarious because basically somebody stuffed supercar level performance and handling into a family estate car. Why I adore these is if you take the badges off them, which a couple of mates have bought these and done that, to the average person it's just an Audi estate until You go flying past them, where legally appropriate, of course, at great speed. This one's got a fresh MOT, clean HPI. It's a UK car, this one as well. And it's just very nice, black metallic, a few chips and bits and pieces. She's not perfect or immaculate, but she's very, very tidy. And these are starting to get a bit of a cult following because of what they are. They're the ultimate Q car, aren't they, really? Like I say, it is a 5-seater. The dog can go in the back. This looks like it's had a newish battery look. Look at the size of the battery. It looks like it's been on charge, that one. Everything is in these, and it will literally keep station with your average Porsche or low-level Ferrari or Lamborghini. And of course they are immensely tunable as well. Take it to somebody like Litchfield and it will become a supercar shamer. Don't forget they were limited to 155 miles an hour. So they actually had to detune them for the sake of the German government. 7 to 8 grand, can you believe it? Right, moving on. This is a bit special. This is a Sportline 190. So the other ones have been lovely, but lower order examples. This is the one, if your wallet can take it, that you really want to take home in the never better colour of silver. It's got the Sportline on it, sits beautifully. I would imagine it's got some aftermarket suspension on because that sits too well for a factory car. 121,000, just ultimate X Factor. It's got leather and the leather is beautiful. It's got a lovely Nardi wheel on it. I'm just walking around this, it's got Blaupunkt upgrade speakers as well. It's just done so correct for period. Little scuff on the rear bumper, it's obviously had a kit on the rear bumper there. There you go. Tiny bit of crazing. Oh, it's a sticker. Little sticker on the side, someone's put a Greyhound sticker on. Yeah, that's nice. That doesn't need much at all. That's probably about 300-400 quid away from being a proper mint of that. 7,000 to 8,000 pounds on that one. Very, very nice. The paperwork is okay, original book pack with service book, 8 services. So we've got some history, just not every service for every single year. But I would wager, looking at the condition of that and the way it's been kept, she's had an easy life. Very, very lovely and desirable motor car, that one. I would like that very much. I like all 190s, but Sportlines particularly just, isn't that tastefully slammed? Just right. I'd wager actually might even have a tiny wheel spacer on that. It's just sitting too well. Kudos to you if you're the vendor that's put that in and you've made it sit like that. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Right, Jaguar XJS 4 litre, what is not to love? Again, I keep talking about the fact I'm getting old now. All the cars that I was kind of a bit like, yeah, they're all right. Now I'm just adoring these. I'm lucky enough to have a pre-HE XJS. I just think they've aged so beautifully. This is a 91 XJS 4 litre in red, which I do think really suits the XJS. Fresh MOT, it was driven here, 137,000 miles showing on the car. It's got the sport seats option as well. The crossbow alloys, which are the nicest looking, and it's the IAD facelift model. So if you look at the back, it's got the later lights, it's got the later windows. There's an awful lot to love. It will not be a huge amount of money, despite the fact I think they're coming into their own. Tiny bit of delacquering happening here, which you might want to sort, you might not. Or just do a Chris Harris. I don't know if you've seen, but Chris Harris has just bought an XJS Coupe, which tells you everything you need to know, really. That the car has suddenly come into its own. If you've got people at his level realising that these are a brilliant car, then now is the time to buy one. I'd jump on. £5,000 or £6,000. Like I say, you can either get this delacquering done, you will have to flat that back all the way back and probably relacquer and potentially repaint. But I don't think it's bad enough to spoil the car. I think you can make it look a lot better for very minimal work, enjoy it, and then maybe restore it down the line. It doesn't need a lot. Just enjoy it. This is nice, isn't it? Sunbeam Alpine Fastback. When was the last time you saw one of those? And on GKN slots as well, which is very, very nice. This is a 74 car. Still got the original Sharp radio. Just look at the back of those. It's been repainted at some point in this rather nice Rover Copperleaf colour. Starts, runs, drive. It does need recommissioning, so the brakes are a little bit worse for wear. So I would imagine it's been sitting, and she probably needs caliper stripping and cleaning, probably a fluid change, maybe some new lines. So budget for the time and money to do that, and then you'll have a super rare car. Looks great on the slots. Again, period correct. I'm loving these cars that have bits and pieces. You can see where the paint's been done. It looks like they didn't take the rubbers out to do it, so you just see the paint's lipping up a little bit on the rubbers. But it sits and presents very well. So like I say, give yourself some time and money to do those brakes. You'll have a lovely thing. And you don't see very many of those either, do you? And this is the market, this stuff now, this 60, 70 stuff. If you're looking for a car that offers a real bargain, This stuff is gently softening. It's the perfect time to buy. It really is. You're going to get way more car for your money than you would have done 3, 4, 5 years ago. If you like value for money, buy this period of stuff. 50s and 60s. It is very much the time to buy. These have always been massively undervalued, I think. So Rover P6 2000 TC. This is a 72 car. These won the car of the year when they were launched. Of course, again, you've got the whole Guy Ritchie factor. Vinnie Jones drove one of these, didn't he? So it's a bit of a bad boy gangster mobile, this. This one's done 67,000 miles on a manual. It's a 2000 TC, so again, the little engine. I like it, it's honest, it's slightly patinated, it presents really, really well. If you've never had one of these, what's bizarre about them is they're like almost like a skeleton clothes horse, and all the panels are unstressed panels and just bolt off. A bit like a Citroen DS. So almost every part of this car, including the roof panel, believe it or not, just unbolts. So when we did one of these on the show, because we wanted a sunroof car, we literally found a sunroof car panel, just unbolted it, bolted it in, instant sunroof car. So they're like a giant Meccano. So for a lot of reasons, they're very easy and quick to fix. They're also very sophisticated to drive because they've got a Dion tube rear end. So they do drive really, really well. So this one's got an MOT till 2026. Don't forget, it doesn't need one. So I always love owners that do that. It's got a little dink in the bumper. There's a few good breakers that I've used for these that have got all the bits for them. But that will not be a lot of money. 5 to 6 grand to buy that. It's just all about just super usable, super stylish car. And they drive like something from the 80s or 90s. They drive sort of 20 years younger than they are. Now, ultimate rover to pose has to be the P5B. Aren't these pretty? Because you just get this incredible roofline, which looks almost like a factory roof chop. So the body proportion to glass proportion on these, I think, has never been bettered on anything before or since. And this has an awful lot of good things to talk about. First of all, just look at it. It's beautiful. Secondly, it's got a 4.6 litre V8 fitted into it by RPI Engineering. You can see you've got these little tags on here. So this, I would imagine, sounds and goes an awful lot better than the standard car. Now, that was a £16,000 option. It's also got a high metallic metal flake paint, light blue roof, the photographic evidence of restoration. They've also put a limited slip in it. That's hilarious. So what we've got here, guys, is a factory hot rod, basically. Somebody has kept this looking very, very sleepery on the outside. I mean, don't forget these had a V8 anyway. They were reasonably quick and torquey. I'd imagine this one's actually quick with a 4.6 and a diff in it. Probably goes around corners as well. That's hilarious because of the work that's gone into that. Bearing in mind there's a... Oh, look, the sun's come out. You can see the metal flake now. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you can see this on camera. But when the sun comes out, you've got turquoise, you've got red, you've got silver. It's a deep metal flake. So when the sun's in on this wing here, you might be able to just see it. I do apologise for the rain spotting. So that really pops. And imagine if you corrected and polished that. That would look absolutely amazing. So there you go. You've got a car with a £16,000 engine and diff conversion that you could probably buy for 17 or 18 grand. So you're almost getting the car for free, aren't you? I mean, that's probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 grand's worth of paint as well, I'd imagine. That's in really good shape. That's a good car. Right, moving on to this one. This is another Cortina. So if you just bear with me. Another beautiful Cortina. If our 3 litre S Evocation is a bit too hairy chested for you, how about a 2 litre? A bit more down to earth. Beautiful this, 2 litre GL. This is pretty much what my granddad had. This is what I used to go to Romford skate park in as a little kid. So a huge amount of time for this car. Put my skateboard or my BMX in the back. We used to have to fold it down, get it in there. And this is it. This is what I would smoke about in as a kid. 88,000 miles, drives and presents really well with a book pack from new. And just a really nice, honest car. You don't see many nice, unknackered Cortinas anymore. It's interesting, isn't it? Once the Cortina was the most prevalent car in the UK, but because they were so common, it's one of those cars that very few people think to save because we always think there will be tons left. What's the point of restoring this one? But of course, because of that, nobody bothers to save them. And because of that, there are very few really nice Cortinas left. This is your chance to own one for 7.5 to 8.5 grand. If you like your stuff looking like it rolled out of the showroom just a few years ago, it is really level. The paint's nice, the trim's good, the interior's nice, got the trim rings on the wheels. What a lovely, lovely thing. Great colour as well. Again, really usable, practical classic. You can take that to so many shows because it even works at the Festival of the Unexceptional type shows because it is just a lovely, ordinary family car. But again, you take it to fast forward shows. Anyway, that works in a lot of places, really. Have I got any more information on it? It's got its original book pack. It's got its Ford book pack cover, old V5s, some older MOTs and some correspondence from the DVLA. So not a full history as you might imagine it, but a very good history. And enough to make you want to bid, I would imagine. Right, so just bear with me. Now all you Max Power boys and girls will remember this one from back in the day. This was the car that everybody bought because the insurance was cheap. Everybody modified because you could get the world of things for it. And of course, again, a bit like the Cortina, because of that, it's impossible to find a nice standard one that hasn't been messed about with. This one I've just noticed a few little dents in the bonnet. You've just noticed as I'm going around. But what a straight level car this is. 1998 Citroën Saxon VTS, becoming very hard to find in this condition. 65,000 miles. You don't see many in this colour, I have to say. Very nice low mileage, fresh MOT, and driven 100 miles here to us in Runcorn. And the interior, which is the non-more 90 seat fabric, look at that, is pretty much immaculate. Someone's put a steering wheel leather cover on, I would argue in the dark, so you might want to take that off. And I'm sure the wheel underneath is probably better than the leather cover, but apart from that, she's completely standard. That's level, isn't it? Very unusual colour, that one. I do think, you know, this again is one of the underrated hot hatches. What are you going to pay for this? I think you're going to pay somewhere between 5 and 6. They're very capable. If you look at prices of other stuff like Clio, 205, they seem very cheap, these, and that can't last, because for a core of people who are now coming into the sort of age where they want to collect classic cars, the Citroën Saxo VTS and VTR, which were the two high performance models, in inverted commas, mean a great deal. And you'll always find with classic cars, when you've got an ownership section of people who have money and great memories, they want to buy the cars that gave them the great memories. That's very nice, and I think you can make it really nice without too much money being spent on it. So definitely want to look at a few dents still on the bonnet, a little bit of a wheel refurb, remove the leather steering wheel cover, and there is an exceptionally nice motor car. You may have guessed, all of the 190Es for sale in the Northwest this month are here. And here's another one. If you want a white or silver 190E, we are your guys. We've got them all, literally all the ones for sale. So you can come and take your pick. This is a 1.8, one owner from new. Just drink that in for a moment. 117,000 miles. Service book with 18 stamps. Just a beautiful factory spec car. Let's have a look. It's had a little bit of paint here, I can just see on the wing, but not badly done at all. Just super level and clean. Love that. It's got its Jim Russell sticker in the window, look. Isn't that brilliant? That to me just screams like an honest car. I just get that little bit of paint rectified on the wing. Bumpers are nice, bumper corners are nice. Interior's gorgeous on it as well. I think if it was the one I was keeping for the collection, I'd buy the Sportline, but just as a super honest, wonderful transport, and what a great mileage, 117,000 miles. This car, and I'm not even exaggerating, factory roof as well, I've just noticed. This car, if you maintain it, will do 500,000 miles, no joke. There's a reason the taxi drivers loved them so much. So the 117,000 miles, you're not even a third of the way what that car will do. That is a spectacular piece of transport. And again, if you're looking for a car to turn up where everybody just loves you, doesn't matter where you go, you can turn up to a business meeting, a classic car show, a family event. People just go, yeah, it's an old 190, old money car. You're not trying too hard. You're not trying to shove it in anyone's face. But people will understand that you've got a very nice motor car. And for £6,000, not an easy thing to achieve. Another Jag, these are the absolute bargain of the show, these things. S-Type R. Can't really explain to you how fast and stupid these are. Great looking car, isn't it? But the S-Type is kind of one of those cars, it's a bit Marmite. People either love them or they hate them. I actually love them, particularly in this format. So this is a rare car. It's on 47,000 miles, probably the best one available. It's got a very interesting number plate. And as it says in the description, definitely not woke. Yeah, I'd go for that. If you're looking for a car that's environmentally conscious, not this one. This one does 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds and has a 400 brake horsepower V8 engine. That's why it's so awesome. So if you examine the ingredients of this car, stupidly low mileage, really nice colour, monster engine, ever so rare, it's going to be under 10 grand, probably even with your fees. I just think that represents extraordinary value for money. It really does. It's interesting with Jaguar, you know, say what you like about the rebrand. In some ways, I think it was quite clever what they did, because we're all still talking about it now. But what it's made people do is look at older Jaguars and go, do you know what? God, haven't they made some fantastic cars? And for whatever reason, Jaguars do not fetch massive amounts of money for massive amounts of car. That's a pure performance machine. You will outdrag many a mid-range supercar with that and take the kids to school at the same time. Now, talking of cars that should be rare, but we seem to have multiples on, so I don't know how our consignment team's done it. So we've got 4 190Es, we've got 3 Vauxhall Tigras, the car that you never see anymore. Got 3 of them in the sale. Here's a lovely one. This is ever so nice, actually. 1998 Vauxhall Tigra Checkers. A rare old bus. Now, it's going to cost you £5,000 to £6,000 because she's done 28,000 miles. So if you want one of these, and Mrs. Cowland very much wanted one of these when they were new, again, they're just a super little car. So you've got a Corsa underneath, so it's not going to cost you much to keep and maintain. They drive beautifully. I think this 90s styling, people are starting to appreciate it. They really are. If you look at things like the Ford Puma, this, little coupes, which again is very much a 90s phenomenon. It's never going to come back, sadly. Manufacturers are obsessed with coupes in the 90s, even making tiny ones like this. And we'll never see it again because they know they can't sell them anymore. But one owner from new with 28,000 miles, what a great starter classic. If you need any bits for, you can get them all from your local Vauxhall dealer. Every MOT from new, loads of invoices, loads of tax discs. It's not perfect, but it's very, very tidy. In fact, I'm really struggling to find that much to crib it on, really. It just looks like a 27,000 mile Vauxhall Tigra that's had a very easy life. If you were being pedantic, you'd refurb the wheels. You'd maybe give it professional detail and correction. And that's about it. It's really all I can pick it up on. Now you look at this thinking, oh, nice notice of land. That's very much was the inspiration for this car. This is an Avanti Gran Premio, this, and it's a really interesting car. So they were Ford engined, effectively recreations of the Lotus using very similar architecture, geometry and layout to the Lotus, but these were all modern day factory built cars, these. And if you ever want to see, the front's very pretty. The front, they almost just kind of copied the Lotus. For some reason, the car they decided to copy at the back, the Mark II Golf. Don't know why they did that. See, it all hangs together beautifully here. And someone, what lights should we put in? I know. I've got a Mark II Golf. I just whacked some Golf Mark II lights in. Interesting. But again, very much of its time. But they were beautifully built. The handling, which was basically they took the Lotus and then went from there. So the handling on these is peerless. They are absolutely fantastic. And this is a particularly nice example. And you can see somebody spent a fortune on this. So they're a great car to drive. They are very much the Lotus Plus. And then some brand new set of JBWs. Look, brand new set of Yokohamas on there. What a thing. 12 months MOT with not a single advisory on it as well. It's got a Ford 1.8 16 valve. That's in rude health. It's had a full service for nearly 800 quid. New stereo put in. It's just a bit of rarity. They're not kit cars because every single one was factory built. I'd say someone has clearly loved this and spent enormous amount of money, including, I would say, new calipers as well. So you're not buying rubbish. This has been maintained, I would say, regardless of cost. And looking at this mohair roof, which is immaculate, it's probably had a new roof as well. There you go. If you know what you're looking at, you'll know what it is and you'll know why you want to own it. Worth actually reading some contemporary road reports on these. They were very well reviewed in terms of dynamically. They drove really well. Now this is getting very much into my wheelhouse now. Corrado G60 in the best colour. Tiny bit of lack appeal, as you might expect, on an old lady of this age, with the best wheels as well. And this one's done 108,000 miles, 10 stamps in the book, with a sunroof, and MOT is going all the way back to 1995. Now these wheels are actually B-Stars on gas coilovers, so they look like the factory wheels, but they're actually an upgrade. So it's a very clever wheel, this. So it looks, and I think it even takes the factory centre, but it's not. That G60 number plate stays with it. What's that going to be? I would have thought that's chunky money, that, because of what it is. They're just impeccably cool. A couple of very tiny marks. There's a little scratch on the wing there, tiny de-lacquer on the boot, but not much. Crikey, when you think of the age of the vehicle, that really is a stunning thing. And because of the wheel choice and the stance, that couldn't be better. And of course, for you detail nerds out there, you'll know that the Corrado mirror, one of the hardest working mirrors in motorsport, ended up on everything from the McLaren F1 to TVRs, and a lot of supercars use the McLaren mirror. Or the Corrado mirror even. Now this is nice. Ed Westby, my learned colleague, would love this. A brown Mini Clubman 1100. And maybe you would too. It looks very original, I have to say, particularly when you look at the interior, which is very slightly baggy in the middle, which I can sympathise with. I'm very much the same myself. £5,000 to £6,000 this one. 26,000 miles, stored for 30 years, untouched and original, and Zybarted when new, which has worked very well in some places, but one could argue not so well in the wing and A-pillar there. So she is going to need a little bit of bodywork. You can just see she's starting to come through. But what you have here is that wonderful thing where you get to drive and buy and own an original unrestored car. So if you're looking for a reference vehicle to do a correct restoration on, there she is. And I don't think it's going to need a huge amount. Remarkably low mileage, 5 to 6 grand will buy you that. It's probably the perfect colour. Those tyres look aged as well. Isn't it great? It's so complete and original. I say, if you're looking for something to do, I thought this was rain spotting, but I think that is actually paint separation. Let's have a look. I think that might polish out, you know. Some of that will mop on the bonnet. You see, if you wet it, it will go. That door's super straight. Do you know what it is? Because one side's really, really perfect. This side is absolutely perfect. That side needs a bit of bodywork. I would imagine this was stored against, this side was against a wall. That side was open to the elements. Because this side is as new. Tiny little dent in the roof. Yeah, it doesn't need half as many panels as Minis normally need. Oh, actually, to be fair, there is a little bit needed at the bottom of that front quarter there. But wonderful car, low mileage, totally original, and the chance for you to get a fabulous restoration. Even got its original plates on, look, of £5,000 to £6,000. Another lovely little sunshine car for not a huge amount of money. This one's no reserve, a Midget 1500. Aren't they great, these? Rubber bumper Midget will probably represent, particularly with a nice hardtop on it, the best value for money you can have this summer. Just, again, a non-try-hard car. They look great in black, these, because the black bumpers sort of blend into the bodywork. And the hardtop is a bit of a treat. This one's obviously called Sooty. And you know what, it looks really decent, I have to say. 90,000 miles with a hardtop. It's an older restoration with some photos. Tiny car, but lots of fun, isn't it, that? Great thing about all these cars, you know, these MGs that we've been looking at, nothing for this car you couldn't order today. Today is Wednesday. If you ordered it before lunch, you'd have it tomorrow, Thursday. And I mean anything. Engine, gearbox, panel, lights, trim. Pretty much everything for this car is available tomorrow. So it's even easier in some ways than running a modern car to run an old MG, because there's such a good club backup. People like MotorClan have all the spares on the shelf. You can just order them, they come the next day. And it's a no reserve car, so you get to set the price. Now, would you like a slightly sun-patinated Triumph Stag? If you are looking for a before and after polished car to do a polish or paint correction demonstration on, this is it. This has gone perfectly flat, this paint, and I think this would polish up. You could do the most wonderful, if you want to win Instagram, just do a line down the middle, polish one half and leave the other. I guarantee you'll get 20,000 views. 90,000 miles on this 1971 Triumph Stag. It's a restoration project, so there's some stuff to do. MOT exempt, of course, as well. 90,000 miles, as I say. This has been in storage for a long time. It's got the original Triumph V8 engine that hasn't been swapped. It's a right-hand drive. Let's have a look. There you go. Look. Well, as you can see, she will need some love. But look at those inner wings. Look at those strut tops. So yeah, there is some work to do, but not in the expensive places. So you probably want to whip that engine out, have a tickle and a tidy. But all the places where these horrendously corrode, this one has not. Elegant car there, isn't it? I do think the Stag is a very nice car. So it is a proper project. You are going to have to dig deep. But normally where you'd be putting panels on and calling your local body shop and welder, I think most of that is going to be a polish and a bit of paint. Nice big dent on the door, bit of rechroming to do on the bumpers. Definitely not a showstopper as a project, that one. It really isn't. Now, Minis, we love them. We always have them in the sale. Ed, my colleague, I think it's part of his contractual agreement that we have at least 5 Minis in every sale. Of course, we once had a Mini room. It's now full of motorbikes. So the Minis are out here. And again, a nice little project for you. A light restoration. I don't think you're going to need to trouble yourself too much on this. This is a 1990 Mini Mayfair. Automatic. So if you've got an automatic only licence, and don't forget, if you look at the DVLA data, every year less and less people get a manual licence, because youth of today know that they're probably going to drive an automatic car or a hybrid or an electric car. Nobody bothers to get a manual license anymore. So for that reason, automatic classics, I think, are the growth area that nobody's talking about. So the clever people will get a good one, make it nice, and then I think you'll have, going forward, the next generation of classic car enthusiasts will be quite into the auto boxes. It's got a sunroof, it runs, drives, it stops. And again, a bit like the Stag, everywhere you'd expect it to be horrendous, like seams, all the places where you want to watch, gutters. Really good on the seams, this. Really good on the seams. Even nice on the bottom door seam, all the trims won't coming off. Who knows what's under those arches, but I'd wager, if it's as good as the rest of the car, I have seen a lot worse than that. To buy that, you could do something really, really cool with it. And also, if you live in a city, that would be a fun one to take in. And 1990, it's not that long before that'll be tax exempt either. You're only talking 5 years. That's going to be MOT exempt, ULEZ exempt. So have a light restoration, sit on it for 5 years and drive it into London every day. Beat the system. Now, I just did a video on my little Fiesta that I bought from here, my Fiesta 1.3 LX that I bought for here for not a lot of money. And I made a video on YouTube, do watch it. It's about how small, light, 90s Fords are probably the only car you'll ever need, and you could in theory drive them every day. They have tiny tyres, they have tiny engines, they have tiny service bills, and they do everything you want a car to do, but they just don't cost much money. This is nice, isn't it? This is a 2000 1.6 Escort Finesse. So if your budget doesn't quite stretch to a Cosworth, think a little lower down. 41,000 mile manual car, super rare. It's got the Softline RS wheels, which is a very nice wheel on this as well. Little bit of paintwork to do. Can you see she's just starting to go look on the roof? So I would get that attended to forthwith before that gets expensive. But just ever so nice, really level car in a lovely colour, with some very nice options, particularly the wheels. Now, we talk about Festival of the Unexceptional all the time. It's the Haggerty show that we love so much, and it's a show that celebrates cars that were once mundane and ordinary, like the Cortina, like the Escort, and just takes them there. It's a show for cars like this, basically. 5-door cars. This is maybe even a bit exceptional with its RS wheels on, but what a great car. No reserve. You get to set the price. I think you could buy that for £1 or so, a couple of grand. Make it really nice, probably for, I don't know, 500-600 quid would make it really nice. If you spent £1 on, you'd make it exceptional. And it's super usable, wonderful motor car. So if you watch the video, you might think, maybe that's the future. We all run 90s cars, or noughties cars, for pennies. Going back to what we say about the MX-5, here's one. Jasper Conrad Edition, MX-5. Again, right for a little bit of improvement. So the paint's a tiny bit flat. You could definitely polish that and make it a wee bit better. It's got these aftermarket wheels on, which do look good, but you might want to swap those and put it back to standard. The roof is very nice, although the edge piping, like they always do, is just starting to go, but that's quite an easy fix. A trimmer can actually do that in situ if you find a good trimmer. Original book pack. It's been in long-term storage and it's done 63,000 miles, but it's no reserve. Got a very rusty exhaust pipe. So you can see it's been sitting, you can see that the rust has come off the wheel. So I would wager, ladies and gents, it probably needs a full recommission to get it good. It definitely needs a paint rectification and polish. But I think under there, is actually the bones of a very good little car. And bearing in mind this NB, the Mark II, can go very, very rusty. Often where you see them rot, this one hasn't. And being a Jasper Conrad Edition, which is very stylish, black with black, that has potential. And you get to set the price. And again, like I was saying with the Mark III, the NC, nothing touches them. For the money that you'll pay for this, and the roof is decent, it's just a little stitch pull there, edge piping. I think you could save that roof. You don't need to put a new roof on that. A good trimmer will just make that better. What'd you buy that for? 1,500 quid? 2 grand? You could do that for £1 and make a really nice car out of that. Whack it through an MOT, see what it needs. Or another Stag with a hardtop. And they do look good with a hardtop on, don't they? That's the nice thing about a Stag. Fantastic convertible, or just run it as a coupe. Either way, they look good. Another no reserve car, 80,000 miles. This is a manual car with overdrive, and a great history file on this one as well. Historic vehicle status. So, of course, exempt from everything, exempt from an MOT, exempt from ULEZ, exempt from all the things because she's so old. And it wasn't very long ago, talking about cars that are softening in price. Again, these were, 28, 30k for a Minter, this isn't horrendous by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, if anything, I think this is probably a few weekends to get this back on the road. Does it drive? Let's have a look. It's far from a basket case, do the bit of fettling, it could be usable quite quickly. The level of restoration is up to you, says our description. I'd agree with that, and I wouldn't be in a massive rush to pile a ton of cash into it, you know. I would just polish it, get it running, get the brakes done, have a lot of fun. I've done that so many times where I take a car like this in this sort of really nice presentable condition, put way too much money into it, never use it. The trick is, take it from someone who's learnt it the hard way, just tidy, use, tidy, use, tidy, use. You'll have a lot more fun for your cash and you'll spend less cash too. Now, are you looking for a lovely classic commercial? Because they are fun on lots of levels, because you can actually use them as a commercial. I sold a post office van to a very nice man who runs a record shop. We did it on the show actually, and he uses that van every day, parks it outside his record shop and uses it as a promotional vehicle, and he finds it works fantastically well. You could do that with whatever your business is. A pickup, just very beautiful looking car in a great colour, very period correct colour. This is a 60. It's a 1000 pickup, so she's not fast and she is nicely patinated. Nice reg number on it as well, that comes with it. Nice 4x2 registration. It does need recommissioning or restoration, but again, Moggy Miners, a bit like MGs, nothing you need we can't get tomorrow. It's one of those. Again, why I love working on stuff like this. And Morris Miners, MGs, Minis, people call them belly buttons in the trade because everyone's got one, but that doesn't make them less brilliant. In fact, if anything, if you're coming into the classic car world for the first time, it makes them better. Nothing makes you lose your enthusiasm faster than a restoration project you can't get parts for, or you don't know how to do, or there's no advice for, or there's no how-to video on YouTube. There is not a single thing on this car that someone hasn't covered in an article or a forum post or a YouTube video somewhere. And that, I think, will just empower you. If you're coming into this with a little knowledge but a lot of enthusiasm, get a car like a Mini, a Beetle, an MG, something there you can just do it, and there's lots of people to help you and lots of things online to help you. That's a great car. Again, no reserve. You tell me what that's worth, my friends. Moving on to this. I shouldn't be looking at this, but I can't stop looking at it. Why is it so cool? I don't know. It's very cool, this, isn't it? This is a Land Rover fire appliance from 1961. So if you're looking for a fire engine, or you like Land Rovers, or both, I bet you haven't got one of these. Let's have a look. Does it open? No, it's locked. Now, you may have noticed it has no windscreen, but because that's almost an entirely flat panel, I wouldn't have thought it's beyond the wit of man to go to anywhere that cuts laminated glass and get one made to do that. These side windows, they're Lexan, they're easily replaced. But it looks very sound and in very good condition. It's a no reserve car. It's an FT6 version. It was last on the road in 2007, and it was one of 5 examples that went to the Gwynedd Fire Brigade and comes with all of its fire accessories. Made by Carmichael, who did a lot of conversions, including the very funky 6-wheeled Range Rovers. It's ever so good on the body, I have to say. So it needs a windscreen, I think you can see that. I have no idea what's in these bits here. But you could do this as so many things. You could just do a restoration to a fire truck, and it's got a crew cab, so you can take your colleagues with you. Or, you know, that could be some kind of funky, imagine if there's like an artisan coffee or something like that out the side there. I think this would really have a great second purpose as some kind of event or festival commercial vehicle. And again, nobody's got one. You could even have a beer coming out of here, couldn't you? Wouldn't that be brilliant? So many uses. Either restore it, do something funky with it. It's too nice just to be sitting there though, and as I say, it's not been on the road for 18 years. It's even got the Welsh on the side, so if you're a fire enthusiast, Land Rover enthusiast, or you're just Welsh, so many reasons to buy this, and at no reserve, you get to choose. I'd love to see what's in here actually. We'll have to try and have a look in there later. Shall we have a look? Just see if we can open it up. Let's have a look. There you go, that's that one. We can edit this to be a bit faster. Oh, look at that! Oh my word. It's like that song, isn't it? I've got hose. I think that's what they were singing about. So it's, if you want to play at being Fireman Sam, everything's there for you. You're ready to go. But again, you see what I mean? You can either restore this, or you could convert this to be a lot of things. There's a lot of usable space there. I think that could potentially be the bargain of the sale. I really do. I'd like to own that. Don't tell Mrs. Cowland, I might have a bid on that. Completely useless. I don't know what to do with it, but can't worry about these things. Right, moving on to here. Got so many cars outside. This is nice. Corrado VR6. A surprisingly capable car, these. I once went on a track day in a friend's VR6. We spanked a lot of expensive cars. They handle really well. Now this isn't quite as pretty as the previous one, the G60. So it's a project with all the hard work done, but you are definitely going to have to budget for some paint. Every panel is needing paintwork. She's a little bit scruffy, but she's all there, and she's not spectacularly rusty. There's a tiny rust hole in the boot, so you need some metal work there. Car's done 133,000 miles. It's a manual car, of course. Looks like it's got some very funky exhaust on it. So she's got good bones, but you are going to have to break out the spray gun and the prep and the welder to do it. So let me tell you what I can tell you about this, if my iPad will behave in the heat. So, as I say, huge amount of money has been spent on mechanical. So what's good about this is the bits that you can't see, the boring stuff that no one ever bothers to do, has all been done at very great expense. Thousands of pounds have been spent underneath, but it needs painting. So if you are a painter or bodywork person who hates mechanicals, here's your car, because someone's done all of it. So the vendor believes somewhere between £4,000 and £5,000 just in parts are underneath this car. So it really is, I think, the chance to add some value to a car. And as you've seen, the nice cars at the top of the market are the thick end of 10 grand now. This is a no reserve car. It'll probably be worth, I don't know, 4 or 5 grand realistically because of what it is, and it's a VR6. But these are becoming 90s cars are cool. We know that that's the growth market. We know that coupes are what people are buying. And obviously there's a huge amount of love and a huge scene for Volkswagen. That could be a great project for you for the summer and the winter. Well, now we're just going to go up to the top and show you some more. Right, my Festival of the Unexceptional fans, buy this. I think they've sold all the tickets out, but if you bought this and you want to go, hey, look at that. You just come down on command. Isn't it brilliant? Citroen BX, I remember seeing these when they came out. I think it was 84, I was in France and I saw one of these for the first time and I fell absolutely in love with them. I think the shape is stunning, and I think even today the level of design for a family car is just ridiculous, and this one's gorgeous. No reserve, original spec. It's just had a full recommission in December of 2024. It's very tidy and very level. 66th annual, can't even speak, so excited. 66,000 miles, and it's a 1.6 TGS. 8 stamps in the service book. In December it had new clutch, 4 new spheres, a new accumulator, new drive shafts, new calipers, disc pads, new back box, new steering rack and arms, new bottom ball joints, new cam belts, new water pump and filter. It's never been welded. So the 1.6 isn't fast, but all the things that you would have to spend money on realistically if you bought an old Citroen BX just been done in December at not many miles ago, and the car has only done 66,000 miles. So all you need to really do, there's a couple of tiny bits to do there, maybe just refurbish the trims to make it really, really nice. Then you've got a beautiful little car. What a pretty car that is. So again, you get to set the price on that, no reserve. And there were a few of these at the Festival of the Unexceptional last year, and people rocked up, and I think everybody appreciate what a fine looking car they are. I might even have a cheeky bid on that myself. Up to a certain figure. I'm on a very strict budget this weekend. Mrs. Cowland has told me. Small budget, so I'm going to bid on some of the cheaper stuff. But that's the fun of the auction, isn't it? You know, it's like Woolworths. If you're old enough to remember Woolworths, the pocket money toys section is always the best section, isn't it? We've got some beautiful cars in the auction that you've seen earlier, but to me, this is the fun stuff. The stuff that you can pick up for £1, £2, £3. That's the fun stuff. Now, also showing my age with Woolworths. Do you remember Roland Rats? Hey, rat fans. This is a slightly more tasteful version of the Ratmobile, the Anglia 100E with sun visor. What a clean, lovely car. 2-door as well. Nice to find one that hasn't been rolled and ratted or hot rodded. They just look really pretty, don't they, these? This has done 42,000 miles, on the button, ready to go. Had an engine overhaul in 2014, so 11 years ago. Had a lot of work done with a new timing chain, water pump, a bodywork restoration in 2015, so you're looking at a 10-year-old resto, which I would say is hanging together beautifully. Love an old resto, love a paint that's been sitting there for 10 years, because you can start to see anywhere that it should and would go on an old Ford, hasn't. So I think it's been very well painted, very well stored. All the gutters are nice, all the doors are nice, all the door bottoms are nice, the doors fit well. Isn't that pleasant? What's mad about this kind of stuff is, like I was saying, 50s cars are getting softer. In other words, the demand for 50s cars, because it's an older owner, you will get a lot more car for your money. And these are just a beautiful, simplistic car that you can, and what's lovely about these, on a Sunday morning, get your socket set out, as long as of course it's an Imperial socket set, and you fix them all yourself with a piece of string and a spoon. Not a complicated car. It was designed to be simple, look very stylish with this baby American body, and that everyone could fix and keep going. So again, I think there's a lot of value in cars like this that don't cost more than a few thousand to buy. You can keep them going. There's a wonderful club. Parts are relatively easy to get for these old Fords. But just look at, just come and stand here, phone. Just look at that front 3/4 and tell me that's not a pretty little baby Yank. It's got a lovely retrimmed interior as well. I think that's a very nice restoration. Any restoration that looks that good after 10 years was a good restoration. You could polish that, make that look really good. Right, minis, we've got all the minis in the world for you. We've got restoration ones, we've got slow ones, we've got fast ones, and this is a very fast one. We've got ones you can compete in, we've got ones you can take on track. And you can already tell by looking through the window, this one is serious. We've got slidey Lexan windows, look. We've got competition dash. We've got a proper safety to fire assist cage in the back. This one's not messing about. 7.5 to 8.5 grand for this one. A 1330 competition engine with just 500 miles on it. Weber single 40. You've got exhaust manifold is big bore. You've got gas adjustable shocks, fiberglass bonnet. She's a weapon. I would imagine on track or sprint, this probably humbles some quite large, expensive motor cars, this one. If you've never driven a tuned Mini, they're utterly hilarious. And as I say, surprisingly capable. The Mini, of course, came to fame by winning the Monte Carlo Rally and beating a lot of large, expensive and fast motor cars. And they can still do it today. If you ever watch these cars at Goodwood, at Revival, a well set up Mini is still a thing. And they just look so good, don't they? So I imagine that'd be great fun. Great fun on track. Probably get eligible for a lot of sprints, things like time attack you could put it into, hill climbs, all sorts of stuff. I don't know if it's been built to Blue Book regulations. I don't think it has, but let's have a look. No, I don't think it is because there's no extinguisher in there. But do you know what? You used to have a lot of fun in it, wouldn't you? And again, a car that you can buy for a fraction of the work. 7.5 to 8.5 would buy you the car. Probably 20 grand's worth of bits and bobs in there. Easy. It's got the Mamba wheels, which are fantastic. Or, if you prefer a sports pack with the wider arches, look at this. This is a thing, isn't it? I'm not sure what's going on with this door square here. That might need putting back on again. This is a 1.3 hill climb spec, but fully road legal. So you can drive to the hill climb or track day, have a lot of fun, again, spank some expensive cars, and then drive home afterwards with a huge smile on your face. So no back seat, so don't buy this if you're thinking of taking the kids to the classic car show. But it does have a passenger seat, so you can take one kid or a co-driver. It's very good on the body, actually, I have to say. The price of this, £8,000 to £9,000. The subject, I think you can see, of huge expenditure. Again, you've got this nice cage in the back, which is a very reassuring thing. If you look, that cage extends all the way through down the A-pillar. Unfortunately, I can't. Oh, I can open. There you go. Look at that. That's going to make you feel safe, isn't it? It's got the knee bar on there as well. Massive spec on this. It's got the 13-inch sports wheels, Yokohamas, Perspex windows on sliders, stripped out interior, the roll cage you can see, the harnesses. It's just been MOT'd. Can you imagine the hilarity of taking that to the MOT station? Road legal race cars are the one. As I say, because you can drive it as a road car, it's a lot of fun. But to be able to drive to and from events without a trailer is a huge, huge bonus. And you will have a huge amount of fun on track, I imagine, with that. Another Tigra. Would you like another Tigra? We've got them all. Here you go. 2000 Tigra 1.6 16 valve on this one, and it's no reserve. And I really like the colour. If you couldn't quite afford a Calibra, or you had a shorter drive, this was the alternative. You could get this colour on the Calibra as well, actually. And it just sort of has that look of a squashed baby Calibra, doesn't it? 39,000 miles. They've all done tiny mileage, these Tigras, haven't they? Loads of history, and fast becoming a desirable car. Let me tell you. Loads of old MOTs, invoices, receipts, book pack. And it's just level. Let me look at the paint. Tiny scratch on the back bumper. Tiny little scratch on the back of the door. Again, a car that probably is 200 quid away from being nearly immaculate, I would say. Seats are even lovely as well. They look good, don't they, these? So you can have that as your summer fun, or another super price rangey. 2 litre Mazda. These are the ones, 2 litres on the 17 inch. This is obviously a soft top rather than a hard top, this one. In the silver, and the paintwork's ever so nice on this. It's in lovely condition. I don't think this would be a massive amount of money. This would be single figure thousands. Well, actually, maybe towards the top end because it's done 23,000 miles, this. But look at the condition of the hood. I don't think this has been left outside. Well, it's been beautifully kept if it has. You can always tell when a car has been left outside. Look at things like window rubber edges and inside, no moss, no trapped moss on the edge of the convertible gutter. It's just really good. And again, these can rot a little bit or the paint can deteriorate. This is in wonderful condition. Fresh MOT, drives well. If you're looking for a car that you just don't worry about because it's Japanese, that will do everything you want it to do dynamically, get a Mazda MX-5. The leather's nice, the interior's nice. Loads of invoices, loads of old MOTs, just all the keys, just everything. It's interesting, the folding hardtops always command a premium because they look a little bit nicer and of course they're a tiny bit more secure. But don't discount the soft tops, they're a tiny bit lighter. That's a very nice roof in good condition. So there you go. Hopefully in that lot you found something for you. Don't forget you need to register to buy. Whether it's online or in person, you can register in person on the day of the sale, which is Saturday. We've got 2 full days of viewing. We've got Thursday and Friday for you to come down and view these cars in person. We do very much encourage that. But either way, whether you're here in the room or online, I'll see you on Saturday. Thanks for watching.